I was thinking about if I just name off some random fables that you knew as a kid, that like we all knew as a kid, like Aesop fables type stuff. How easily would it be, or how easy would it be to just woke style deconstruct them?
Oh, that would be that. No, well, just like the porn thing, the Rule 34. There's gonna be like a woke Rule 34. There's gonna be academic papers on it. I think you came up with an idea, but this is what I've always said is the hard thing to do in those academics is find one that hasn't been touched yet.
Yeah,
And find one that hasn't been touched yet that hits big. But if you found one, it'll hit big. But I bet you could do it.
I remember. It's I think about very frequently the scorpion and the frog, right? Because I actually somehow avoided ever hearing that until I was an adult. The first time I heard it was watching The Umbrella Academy, and it was kind of funny hearing that because I know all of the people who run that show are woke as hell. Like Gerard Way, he's the lead singer of My Chemical Romance. He's woke as fuck. And when I hear somebody woke as fuck regurgitating the fable of the scorpion and the frog, I'm like, hold on a sec, you're victim blaming. You're you're telling the frog he shouldn't have let a scorpion on his back, but he's the victim, and you're blaming him. You're telling him not to get into situations he might be victimized. But I did like a quick little chat GPT thing where I asked it for other examples like that. And it came up with Little Red Riding Hood, traditional moral, don't talk to strangers, deconstruction. Why is the focus on the girl's choices instead of the wolf's predatory behavior? This frames safety as a potential victim's responsibility. Kind of same as what I was saying. The Boy Who Cried Wolf, traditional moral, liars lose credibility. Deconstruction. This encourages disbelief toward people with imperfect histories. A victim shouldn't have to be morally flawless to be believed. The Ant and the Grasshopper. Traditional
Such a non
moral.
sequitur. It's just such a non sequitur.
The Ant and the Grasshopper. Traditional moral. Work hard and plan ahead. Deconstruction. This assumes everyone starts with equal opportunities and can become a justification for blaming people in poverty for their circumstances. The Three Little Pigs. Traditional moral. Be industrious. Be prepared and prepare well. Deconstruction. The pigs with fewer resources are implicitly blamed for being vulnerable rather than focusing on the wolf's violence. The goose that laid the golden eggs. Traditional moral, don't be greedy. Deconstruction, the goose is treated as a resource to be exploited. Why is its value framed only in terms of its productivity? That's pretty good. It keeps going.
So where did those come from? 620, 564 BCE Greece, Aesop's fables. So
I don't know.
So they're white. I just looked them up.
Do you got something playing? Because I can kind of hear myself in the background when I talk. Like through your...
I don't think. Oh, I just think I turned my thing up because Troy told me to turn it up. Maybe you're hearing me through my
Oh.
earphones.
No, I think I was hearing myself.
Am I quiet?
You were a little bit at first, but like I can just hear myself. I can hear myself
just
through
coming
your...
back through my earphones.
Yeah, probably. Whatever.
I don't think I have the thing on at all. My parents had this book in the 90s. Politically correct bedtime stories.
Oh, I got that for Christmas in 1990.
And it would read like modern day woke stuff. The Prince and the Seven Dwarfs are portrayed as chauvinistic. Little Red Riding Hood is seen as Riding Hood not having a heroic savior, but as a sexist, speciesist interloper. It wouldn't sound any different. The thing was made as a joke entirely, but that was from old PC1 way back in the time. But
The wolf... Don't trust a wolf in sheep's clothing. Well, we got to think of the systems that required the wolf to think it had to dress up as a sheep in order to fit in with sheep societies in the first place.
Aesop's fables and white supremacy. Let me.
Oh, Steve was saying this is why the world needs Dick Dilly's dill pickle tails.
I don't know. You might have found something. Untangling the myth of fascism and Aesop's fables. Never mind.
Yeah, there's no way I was the first person to think about that.
Modern political mythology frequently associates the Aesop fable of the farmer and his quarreling sons with the Roman insignia of state. The bundled sticks, so it's just that one particularly, I guess. The bundled sticks and axe of the fasces.
I bet you could find a paper exactly like this that is deconstructing Aesop's fables just as a concept in and of themselves, not just one specific one.
That's what I'm telling you. I've said it before, like finding the thing that nobody's done, and then when you write the paper, you have to put out 120 pages showing that you've read all the other ones that were absolute dog shit, and
And
that's
it's
the hard work, you
and then
know.
you got to start deconstructing things that were already deconstructed, like some
Yeah.
gay shit like Steven Universe, like writing your PhD thesis on how Steven Universe reinforces gender norms and white
Then
supremacy.
you've got to apologize if you're the first white person getting to it. I saw somebody just this week say that they're trying to say that moon travel is
Yes.
against indigenous beliefs because the indigenous have claim to the moon or something like that.
Because they used it for navigation. And I'm like, yeah, so did everyone, you fucking idiot. They didn't use it as well as some other people because the other people got across the fucking ocean.
It describes how a farmer's argumentative sons are only quelled into concord through their father's allegorical illustration of the relative weakness of the sticks individually and bound together. The symbolic association of these two bundles in popular culture, if often reinforced by fascist receptions of the Roman insignia as a symbol of collective power. However, collective power is a notion never explicitly attested regarding the fasces in their original Roman context. Rather, such a reading only emerges during the French Revolution in its efforts to echo the Roman Republic through its new understandings of the collective power of human beings. Any discernible mingling at all between Aesop's fable and the Roman symbol upon inspection does not seem to begin until an important legal precedent in 19th century America. Moreover, conscious connection of these symbols in which Aesop, the fasces, and fascism are directly named is actually a fairly recent retrospective invention of the past 25 years. In this paper, identify when this appears to have occurred and how invented traditions such as this can grow and diffuse far more quickly than might be initially supposed.
My dear boys, alone you are but flimsy sticks, but bound together you become a mighty faggot.
The Simpsons, speaking of which, do you recognize my name?
What's that?
Do you recognize my name?
Oh yeah, Grimey
From from
Frank
from
Grimes.
the
from
top
Walking
three.
Dead?
No,
From
from
The
Simpsons.
Simpsons.
Oh,
Homer's
no.
enemy,
Oh
Uh,
yeah, Frank Gray. Okay.
Frank
or
Grimes actually,
Grimy, as his friends like, as he liked to be called.
it came up a whole lot lately because people were comparing it to the younger generation being mad at the boomers. Because Frank Grimes is really, really pissed that Homer seems to be kind of a bumbling idiot, yet he has a house, a car, a kids, and all that stuff. And Grimes is pretty competent and can't get ahead in life at all and anything.
The OG
And
incel.
yeah, I don't know if you followed like the burrito gate on Twitter at all, but there's been all this thing that some I think Matt Walsh complained that burritos cost $20 or something like that, and then of course back and forth between the kosher right and the other right about what you can afford or not, and this is why we're getting communism type stuff. Um,
Seen a couple memes, haven't really followed it.
well,
Yeah,
it's just,
exactly. That's same here.
it's just the Frank Grimes type saying, "Come on, nothing's affordable, and you guys are talking about, buying your own burritos and stuff like that, and we can't buy a house." And the other people saying, "Skip together and stop going out to eat, you bunch of lazy bums," type stuff. Procrustean Bed. Do you know what that is? What the title of the thing is?
I think it's a
Yeah.
metaphor for a system that ruthlessly
Nope, can't
forces
read.
people to. No, I knew what it was. I was Obviously, I knew. No, I don't.
No, that's what it is. It comes from Greek mythology. I think Virgil put it in his Odyssey a little bit. It's this guy who lures in young men to his place, and when he lures them in, for some reason he wants them to fit his bed exactly, and he stretches out their legs or cuts off their head to get them to fit in the bed exactly. So kind of torture them. So it became a metaphor for
Cutting your dick off?
basically like what Nolan did to the Odyssey. You go into something, you act like a nice little sweetie guy, you're gonna help something, then you stretch it to fit your thing. You got to make it fit your criteria with your worldview. And
Young man, I see you play with dolls, and in my bed, things that play with dolls don't have cocks and balls. I'll need to be removing those.
chop off your feet, says Steve.
Yeah.
Christopher says, literally, I was working on a paper and fed it to ChatGPT, and one of its responses was not enough citation. I was like, no shit, this is an original piece, and citations are fluffy nonsense. ChatGPT.
Imagine being like J.K. Rowling and asking ChatGPT for Harry Potter advice, and it's like, you haven't cited any works.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, your resignation, though, is 100% ChatGPT.
Man, that story, that really is something.
Okay, I did not really follow that shit. I saw you guys talking about it. I've had very little phone time this week at work, so it sounds.
You want the whole
daily? I do. It sounds insane. The little tidbits I picked up.
I actually have a bunch on it because there's a lot here about the decay in academia that I have kind of chalked up. Not that we haven't talked about it before. The rot, the absolute rot, and that's kind of what I was looking at with Procrustean Beds, because there's this thing of I was following this Quillette thing of this guy's a sociology PhD, and I guess they put him in like a preeminent spot over at Cambridge.
He's the youngest black professor at Cambridge ever.
Yeah. And Quillette had this other thing where about the sociology profession. I'll show you a little bit of that they have all of these things that, like, it basically says that they can't do work unless it's revolutionary. You know what I mean? Unless it's somehow.
This is one of the ways I don't think these people understand that the woke shit and the DEI shit will backfire entirely. And I try to warn people when, not so much when Hillary Clinton was running, but when Kamala Harris was running. Right. I'm sure at some point in our history, we will have our first female president. Do you want it to be Kamala Harris? Like, even if you're a lefty, if I were a lefty feminist, I would have voted Trump because I'd be like, I really want the first. And I want her to be fucking Michael Jordan. You know, I want her to be the Michael Jordan. And Hillary Clinton would have been so much better. A first female president, you know, because she's at least, you know, very intelligent, and
she's one of the crooks you can trust. She enriches herself and peddles her influence, but she keeps it on the DL.
Let's watch the PR video of him from Cambridge first.
Oh, I haven't seen this.
It was a privilege to have a period of 11 years where I couldn't speak and I couldn't converse in a way that everyone else could, because it allowed me to see things in a different way.
Professor Jason Alday was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 3. He couldn't speak until he was 11 and read or write until he was 18. Throughout his early years, his parents continued to believe in him.
At 18, my mum had got to a point where there was only so much she could do, and she was brilliant, even though she had this belief that, you know, he'll do something okay, but she was just decided, I need someone else to believe in him as much as I believe in him.
Therapists predicted he would need full-time assistance throughout his life. How wrong they were.
You okay?
It was this man, college tutor Sandro Sandri, who helped teach Jason to read and write at 18.
All right, Helen Keller's bullshit. I'm calling it. Helen Keller was a fucking psyop bullshit plant.
It totally was.
This is stupid.
You know, I'm speechless, to be honest. But I never doubt a moment they would achieve.
Brits talk too slow. Are you ready for slow talk?
Sandro would spend hours of his free time teaching Jason.
There's one thing you said to me, which I never forgot.
Oh, thank God.
And it was when I was 22, and I said to you, I was thinking about doing a PhD. And you said to me, like, you know, it would be the greatest story in the world if the kid who didn't know how to read and write was managed to get a PhD. Like, and you said, like, I think, you know, we can take on the world, or we can take on the world and you can win.
Story.
And
he did a lightning fast one.
I never forgot that.
And now Jason is days away from achieving another ambition.
Hey, so good to see you.
Here's his new boss at Cambridge.
We do have a lot of work to do, but I feel really optimistic.
Part of his research will look at new ways to make higher education more accessible for everyone.
What can we do to ensure that this isn't a market appointment in 5 years' time? How can this become the norm?
We've listened to the voices of our Black scholars and our Black students, and some of it has not been easy to hear, to be honest. But we're able to face up to some of the structural issues that people face.
There will be those. I think this is a tokenistic appointment. What are your thoughts on this?
The board of electors on your interview, they were absolutely unanimous. We are so lucky to have you. You are the best in the world in terms of the research.
How can you make a soul patch
An
look
extraordinary
gayer?
journey, but for Jason, this is not an end. It's a beginning.
The reaction has been amazing, and I'm truly grateful to everyone for their kind sentiment and kind words. We've got a lot of work to do.
He is
Celestina
gay,
Oliver,
right?
BBC News, Cambridge.
I don't know if they've even said that part yet. I think they would have pumped that out.
Well, he's definitely gay. He's got to be gay.
That's the Norm Macdonald joke.
He kind of looks.
It's impossible to tell if a British person is gay because they all talk like that.
he looks like the guy that's gay, but also you'd be really worried to have him around your daughters.
Yeah,
it says that he was diagnosed before that diagnosis even existed.
Didn't he participate in a study that took place before he was even born?
20 years before he was born, he said he was participating in the 7-Up TV show.
No, he did volunteer work for a company that helps get water to shitty villages, and he was installing water pumps in a town in Brazil when a woman touched him and said something like, "I can see that you have a great future. You have a good heart." Like, it was total Lady of the Lake kind of thing. And then, but also she says, but I see that you're going to have a life of hardship and depression.
Did I say about the time Morgan got a reading from a medium? It was when we were in New Jersey for my friend's wedding, and we went to Ocean City, I think, and we're walking along the boardwalk in the morning, and like every third business on that boardwalk is a fucking medium. And Morgan's like, I gotta try it. And I was like, nah. She's like, I know it's bullshit, but I gotta try it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And the lady seemed like a Simpsons character. I was like, she wants me to film this. Can I film it? She's like, you can film it, just don't get my face in a picture. And she's like smoking the cigarette while she's like reading Morgan's palm. She's like, this line right here says that he's hesitant to have kids, but you really want them. And we had 2 kids at the time. This line right here, like, she gave 0 fucks. And I was like, you know what? If you're going to be a scam artist medium, I guess that's the most respect I can give you, is if you just don't give a fuck. Sorry, I got us off track.
All right, fine. LJMU's own page said he defied all expectations by achieving a BTEC and then a degree at BTech is 2 years of written coursework. He couldn't write before 18. He was at St. Mary's by 20. There's no window. Read at 18, degree at 23, doctorate at 31, Cambridge chair at 37. Truly one of the great minds of our time. Then someone checked his thesis. So there was actually 2 different internal critiques before it broke loose from just, internet vloggers, so they actually did catch it and notice, and they cleared him of it, and they were just sitting on that for like 2 or 3 years saying, oh, we cleared him of it, even though he heavily plagiarized, copying editing errors over from sentences from another dissertation. The title of his dissertation has spelling errors. He has all sorts of spelling errors all the way throughout the whole entire thing. They're just pretty outrageous.
You know that movie August Rush?
Yeah.
This is like that movie, except for August just did like 4-chord songs and somehow bullshit his way into.
They didn't. Glasgow denied any ongoing link. The guy who approved him is now the pro vice chancellor of the whole thing. But forget Cambridge. Everyone's looking at the wrong university. St. Mary's Twickerman. This alumni page live today. He came to St. Mary's in 2005 to undergraduate degree, having learned to read and write at the age of 18. They admitted him. They saw whatever he presented. No school name. No sixth form. No A levels. No access course. His documented education begins at 20. They taught him 3 years, so they know what English walked in and what walked out. They gave the degree, then a master's, then in 2024 an honorary doctorate when he was already famous.
Why do honorary doctorates exist?
Yeah.
They are a weird thing.
It's a weird thing. I kind of almost understand it when it's a celebrity, like, you're one of us, like it's. Bill Cosby before we knew about all this stuff. Like, here, you're a doctor or whatever.
I have a joke about. Oh, sorry.
No,
Finish your point.
No, go on.
I was gonna say, damn it, I just spaced out.
Bill Cosby before
no,
we
right
knew about all
before
your
that.
stuff. Honorary doctorates are bullshit.
Oh yeah, exactly. When you get an honorary doctorate, do you get $80,000 of honorary debt?
The page claimed that he raised $5.5 million for different charities. There's no record of any of that. The only verifiable record is 2010 Just Giving page of $6,000. Cambridge inherited a CV, others validated. At St. Mary's, can't say that. The very first, and it isn't one education qualification, it's 6. BTEC, a degree, a master's, PGCE, a teaching certificate, a doctorate, all in education. The man who says he learned at 18, trained to teach children to read, and wrote a thesis on mentoring students for teaching. He misspelled things like poultry for paltry and those types of things. There's tons of those. I've seen people pulled out just tons of them from his writing. Anyway, he claimed to appear in 7-Up. It was first aired in 1964. He was born in 85. He claimed 600 miles in 6 days running.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm remembering some more of this.
And apparently, because he said I ran from whatever town to whatever town, and somebody pointed out that's only 400 miles. Like he doesn't even get the distances right.
No food, no sleep, no stopping. Total Forrest Gump. 6 days and legs, 24/7 shift. The math says that would be 2 meters a second. He claims a pig's head was sent to his parents. The Guardian asked the butchers he named. No police officer ever came in about a pig. He claimed a masked man confronted him twice, knifed him the second time, telling him to resign. Enhanced CCTV caught nothing. He hit the panic alarm. The security team was on site. Nobody came. He told no colleagues, then ran a PhD. Viva 2 hours later. Police force FY found no matching reports. Part of one of those reports is they wanted to interview him, and he said he couldn't because he didn't feel good or something like that.
He didn't feel good. Like, this dude's got to be in great shape running 600 miles in 30 seconds or whatever.
When it started unraveling back then, Times Higher Education had 63 pages ready. In September 25, his lawyer sent one letter, no lawsuit. The story stayed buried for 10 months. So you were never told. His New York Times interview was canceled. Simon & Schuster scrubbed the financial claims from the memoir. It's still published on 11th of August. Meanwhile, he sat in the NHS Race and Health Observatory Group, a bunch of different councils. His story is so inspiring that 6 universities, the BBC, the Guardian, the Publisher, all repeated it. Not one checked it. Turns out that was a clever bit. He didn't beat the system. The system never looked. It wanted the story too badly to be true. Cambridge is investigating now 3 years late, and only because journalists did their job. And when it was finally all put to him, he said this: "To be honest with you, I thought you'd just believe me. Why would I lie?" They did just believe him for 20 years. Some of the other stuff that came out is he claims he had a brain tumor 2 weeks before he defended his dissertation and had it taken out, and then that's why he wasn't able to remember very much during his dissertation. So they passed him.
Oh Christ!
A bunch of different other stuff like that. There's some story here that I have that it's like he was getting questioned by the Daily Mail. He sent a bunch of quotes in from the Daily Mail from himself and said, "Please quote these. Please have other people be the ones who get these quotes. Please attribute these quotes to other people."
I saw you say that. Did they do it for him?
I don't know. I don't think they did. I mean, it obviously came out now. Who knows at the time frame?
Because that would be insane.
Yeah. And he claims to have had a benign tumor removed. Is almost certainly a complete lie. What's more likely is he had to cram for his own dissertation defense because the content of his dissertation wasn't his own original research.
Who's to say?
All this sorts of stuff. And so then he finally, this week, he resigned, and they said that when he resigned, he used the ChatGPT 100%. They checked it
out. Did you see? I didn't have time to watch it. The Peter Boghossian video. He had a video in that.
Yeah.
The caption was just "The right is wrong about the Jason Arday situation." So I don't.
He was cracking a joke because he sent in a thing to say make him stick with him. Like he signed a thing to keep him and all that sort of stuff. But he was accelerating. He was doubling in on.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more
He
sense.
said, "Make them stick with it. Make them keep him. Make them roll with it." Type stuff. The left was like running like little things like this. I actually commented right to this lady on TikTok right when it came out. She might have seen it because I was one of the first commenters on it. But let me see here.
The youngest black professor. You might have not heard who Jason O'Day is. Jason is the youngest black professor in Cambridge's history.
Inshallah.
Literally no one. From the start, newspapers like The Telegraph and The Times have been calling him a diversity poster boy and just overall annoying him. But now they're taking it a step further and they're trying to smear him with accusations of plagiarism, basically saying his work isn't his own and trying to discredit him. And it's really interesting because it doesn't matter that academic journals, universities, everybody that has looked into these claims has found no evidence of plagiarism whatsoever. The newspapers
What?
do not care.
Straight lie.
And we have to talk about it. A baseless smear campaign against a distinguished black academic isn't just a personal attack. It's an attempt to shut down a black person who has a platform, and they keep doing this again and again. Again, just with Missing, just with Jason. And it's gotten to a point where we have to say, you know, we're not going to let them. We have to do something about this. But we know that these newspapers will only listen to public pressure, and we need to send them a message loud and clear. If you want to join us, comment Jason. We'll send you a link to add your name to our open letter to stand in solidarity with Jason.
She said it's white supremacists that are attacking him. It's all people on the left. Nathan Coffness was the first one to do it. The guy's a left winger. If you want to go watch him, he debated the Distributist one time about how Biden's great and all this.
Sometimes I don't ask questions because I'm like, these are tired questions that they've already thought of, and that would be like me asking, is it always Is it always white supremacy to question a black guy? Is it always racist to question a black guy? So my reflex is to not ask that question because I'm like, that's a tired question. I'm sick of pointing out the double standard and it's dumb. But then I'm always reminded of when Maven talked to us and Flip asked her about the financial abortion part. And in my head, I'm like, why are you asking her about this? She's really big on it. Anyone who's this big into abortion thing has heard the financial abortion argument. And she was like, I never thought about that. I was like, holy fuck. You've never spoken to a pro-life person, have you?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
This person says here, how can a professor at fucking Cambridge and not realize that explicitly asking the Daily Mail to attribute your quotes to someone else would have spectacularly backfired 100%? Says, because he spent his entire academic career doing exactly that, telling bald-faced lies that deprive the listener of a neutral position. That's the trick. Each person he spoke with, interacted with, showed his work to, showed himself to, was presented with a choice. Become complicit in the great lie or muster the courage to call the youngest black professor a liar. Yeah, I mean,
well, you could tell when you look at him, like they diagnosed him as autistic. I think it was misdiagnosed. They ought to have diagnosed him as just kind of stupid. You know, I don't think he's autistic.
No, he seems perfectly fine. He probably could have some sort of good career. In some sorts of ways, he's a bit of a victim of them trying to, as all these things are.
I get it.
I mean, he's obviously complicit with it, but I mean, just like I don't know, like why any sort of black actor who gets cast in a role that's going to get like Helen or something like that doesn't say, no, I'm not going to be your guinea pig for this type.
Okay. Okay. I will not fault like Lupita, what's her face, for taking that role, because I'm like, that's a massive role. It's going to be one of the highest grossing movies of all time. Of course you're going to say yes, even if in the back of your head, like, it's fucking stupid.
Honestly, but honestly, if you were coming asked to play Martin Luther King Jr., seriously,
I'd do it.
You'd do it.
Of course I'd do it.
I wouldn't. I'd be too embarrassed, man.
What are they paying me? I would. I'd do it, and then I'd clown on it later. Because for me, it's like that one payout is going to be enough for me to never work again for the rest of my life. So, fuck my future acting career. I played MLK Jr. and then I can do the rounds on fucking Crowder and Shapiro and Joe Rogan and all these people who are going to be like, this was stupid, right? I'm like, yeah, but they gave me money for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is one of the other things too.
You're a better man than me, Chris. Okay, thanks for announcing that. I'm a piece of shit.
No, that's just I'm too ashamed. I wouldn't dare take it.
Well, I would do it full well understanding that this is fucking stupid.
Yeah. No, of course they have blame for it too, going along with it all. But this guy got noticed because of all the hype around him, right? Because of the PR stuff, because of the pushing. And what this guy says is absolutely true. What far too few people realize is that academia is full of these Jasons. I do not necessarily mean plagiarists or liars. I mean vacuous apparatchiks who have never produced a single critical, original, interesting, or novel thought in their lives. This I can agree with 100%. They sit around dressing up asinine storytelling and ideological boilerplate as scholarship. Not just to mention, like, do you know how many PhDs are given out there for people giving, what do they call them, autoethnographies?
Yeah.
Just writing journals of like their experience.
Wait, autoethnographies?
Autoethnographies, yeah. I listened to one at Sunstone. This girl just got her PhD.
Hold on.
And all it is a diary of your experience in a place, being a person of indigenous whatever or color or whatever. That's all it is. And their PhDs given out for it.
They just took the term Black Dude's Journal and changed it into auto. Oh, fuck. I'm not surprised, actually. Never mind.
Let's see. Repeating the same fashionable narratives to one another and calling it intellectual work. The social sciences have already been almost completely lost to all these people, and much of the rest of academia is rapidly falling. Eventually, the embarrassment he causes will become too great, and they will quietly discard this particular Jason, but they will learn nothing, admit nothing, and change nothing. They will simply replace him with another vacuous mediocrity who has accumulated fewer lies and less plagiarism. Then carry on as though anything never happened. But just like it happened with the Claudine Gay, they caught her plagiarism. They kept her on, like they kept paying her. I bet
she kept her salary.
Yeah.
They basically took away her title, but nothing else really changed.
Oh yeah, she kept everything else. Vacuous is just the perfect adjective. They keep using that, and it's just the perfect word to describe this shit.
Yeah, since forever ago, Hicks called this, and what's been in the universities forever, is this first generation postmoderns said we should forget truth, reason, objectivity, even reality. But that first generation, back to Foucault and Lyotard and Fish and Frederick Jameson and all those types of people really were well read in philosophy and all that sort of stuff, right?
And Hassan Piker.
And Hassan Piker. They really knew it. Then the second generation were less. The decline of standards and competence. Now we're on to the third generation. And literally all they have learned in their academic careers is listening to other people regurgitate this nonsense.
So I'm a person of color. I pretty much fit a lot of
original material.
Targets of oppression. If I go out into the world, it's not very hard for me to experience racism. There's a lot of racism in the world.
Okay, I'm going to be racist now, lady.
When I experience racism and let's say I try to interrupt it.
Like for her entire PhD, she's only read and written this. That's it. She doesn't know anything else about anything.
My own history of racism and also there's this concept of epigenetics, that we inherit trauma from our family members.
Fuck you.
So I'm triggering that as well. So I'm triggering a lot, and a lot is being triggered in my body. So if I were to confront this racist encounter, it would take a lot of energy for me that a white person.
Imagine like flying to conferences and sitting there.
It wouldn't take the same.
I was seriously just about to say, like, this is their version of a fireside speaker.
And that's what they do. They fly to these conferences and sit there and listen to this stuff and regurgitate it and write papers. Like they call it the elite overproduction.
Troy, I want to be racist against her, but I don't know what race she is. Can someone help me?
Have the same racial experience, and so
she's a Zendayan. She could be cast as anything.
Idea of anti-capitalist.
If she scowled better.
Self-preservation is that if we operate in the world, if we understand our privileges, that is a place where we can intervene, and we actually use less of our energy than if we try, to, for instance, in my.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's one of my all-time favorite comments. That one's got me laughing like an idiot.
What's that? I want to be racist.
Just Troy's comment.
Listen to this. I mean, this is a whole
In their
36-minute long thing.
Professor Rubin and her co-authors sound the alarm over recent illiberal trends that have taken over, to varying degrees, history, philosophy, literature, and the arts more generally, including Professor Rubin's own discipline, sociology. The authors of the report are careful to note that they don't object to the progressive political slant that prevails in the humanities.
They make sure they say that. We're still progressives, we swear.
Abundantly demonstrated by survey data in recent years. Rather, they object to what they regard as the diminishment of academia by the use of explicitly ideological and political standards to judge the quality of new research. By way of example, in a 2021 presidential address to the American Anthropological Association, UCLA anthropology professor Akhil Gupta declared that the mission of anthropology is, quote, to challenge the culturally dominant common sense of capitalist consumerism, end quote. The authors report that, among the humanities more generally, anthropology seems to have been particularly affected by these tendencies. But sociology isn't far behind. In 2024, when the American Sociological Association announced that its annual meeting would be devoted to, quote, intersectional solidarity, building communities of hope, justice, and joy, the organizers clarified that, quote, the 2024 theme emphasizes sociology as a form of liberatory praxis, an effort not only to understand structural inequalities, but to intervene in sociopolitical struggles, end quote. As Professor Rubin explains, this explicitly political mission now affects how scholarship is judged and even what scholarship is permissible to be produced. In coming months, the co-authors, including Professor Rubin, will be preparing specialized reports about...
It's a Procrustean Bed. She talks about her, let me show you this, in sociology. They like go and study prisons, but they're not allowed to take anything from the prison except for the prisoner's takes on it. They're only...
It's not great.
yeah.
I didn't do it.
But yeah, check this out.
Or kind of expectations or norms. So some examples that people have given of prisoner resistance include masturbation and suicide, whereas more classic examples are things like prison riots or protests.
Sorry, I got to stop you there. Masturbation is a political protest against what?
Against like Victorian norms that, Victorian norms of sexuality, or another example would be same-sex relations behind bars, because these are kind of challenging heteronormative ideas of society.
Is it the case that people have cited onanistic behavior as having a political dimension to it if the person is incarcerated?
Yes.
Okay, but that's super weird.
Yeah. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm a first-year professor, and I'm like,
have people published articles like that?
Yeah.
Disrupting the patriarchy by is that
yeah.
like is this in the literature?
Yeah. My very first article on the tenure track talks about this, and so
she talks about how she's not allowed to view it or study it or look at it in any other way but through its liberation revolutionary lens.
These people are protesting the patriarchy by criminally gooning. I don't understand. I do understand. I've seen enough of this to know. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah. So, and that's some of the academic route. I've got some more stuff here, but I mean, we can move on from that if we want to hit other things.
This is intriguing. So I'm bitching, but it's more theatrical bitching because this is hilarious and depressing.
It is stunning though, just like because it's not like he was a convincing fraud.
No.
From the very beginning, it all seems really, really obvious.
This is all the people in the sociology department over at Cambridge that were part of hiring him. I guess there's one white dude down. There's one Christopher Rufo down in the corner. There's another one. But I just try to imagine what this department at Cambridge looked like in 1963. He's just a bunch of old bolo hat dudes. Was it straight C.S. Lewis's in there?
It was it was the Pythons. They were the guys going. I guess they were at Oxford, but that's what a real education can do for you.
You guys know the fusion dance from Dragon Ball Z? I know you guys aren't.
No. I do not.
So they do a dance where two characters can fuse into one character, and it amplifies their strength, and it turns them into an entirely new person. That chick at the bottom with the horn-rimmed glasses, she looks like if Velma from Scooby-Doo did the fusion dance with Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, I saw this one this week. It's
retarded. It's everything in Dragon Ball Z is retarded. I don't know why. I love it nostalgically, but it's so stupid.
This guy from Colette pulled up this book on the mark about punctuation, quirky book about punctuation, and kept reading. So what if I told you that punctuation is both a tool for oppression and liberation, for colonial enslavement and its subversion, for literal and cultural occupation and a resistance that declares boldly that every human being has the right to self-determination. This is the story of punctuation's role in the politics of the Middle East. But the story doesn't end there. Here comes what we've all been waiting for. Punctuation's dual life as subversive anti-colonial force and as colonizer. Punctuation became a tool for colonial oppression close by in Palestine. Punctuation marks in Hebrew come to us as relics of the brutal colonial system. Punctuation enabled both the colonized to resist and the colonizer to settle. There's a no moral here. This is not fable. This is reality. Stay vigilant. Read the small print. Did you guys watch this?
It's when you want to be elitist, but also be for the working man.
Yeah. Somebody posted this. This is pretty funny.
Many years ago, I invented phonetic punctuation, which means that, well, I have to explain it in a different way. When I first noticed that people don't understand each other clearly when they speak together, it's because we don't use punctuation marks, which, of course, we do when we read or write. A period sounds like this. A dash. An exclamation point is a vertical dash with a period underneath. A comma. Quotation are two commas. Or if you happen to be left-handed, question mark is a little difficult. And finally, the colon, the two little dots. You can put them over each other, or you can put them under each other, or you can put them wherever you want to put them. That's it. I'm going to read a paragraph from this book here. In the open window, there suddenly came light. Beautiful Eleanor sat alone dreaming of but one thing. 2 years had passed since she met Sir Henry. She could still remember the unhappy evening when her father had thrown him out. They had been sitting in the park, and Henry had said, "Darling, is this the first time you have loved?" She had answered, "Yes." But it is so wonderful, and I hope it shall not be the last.
That might be one of the most British things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Colin Wright got his paper published about in the Archives of Sexual Behavior, an actual book about why there are exactly two sexes. And of course, that got ripped apart and criticized. You know, when I write the same content for a scientific journal, it's just an opinion paper, they say. But of course, my scholarly papers on the subject aren't going to be novel empirical studies. What are your recent studies? What recent studies show you that there's only two sexes? They're articulating well-established science from over a century ago. They remain true to this day. Yeah. So, of course, they're ripping apart his stuff, or trying to rip it apart. If you have somebody just go in there and say that there's exactly two sexes. What you gonna do? Did you guys watch Dan yet? Speaking of scholars.
Nope.
No, I didn't watch that.
You were waiting for it?
Yep. I thought about it after you said something. I was like, you know what?
It's a chore to watch it, man. It's a chore to...
Oh, fuck, it is. I remember when we first started watching him, and Jacob actually texted me. He's like, hey, what's your beef with McClellan?
Really?
And I just gave him a big write-up of everything I hated about him, and then I linked him to that thread where we just made, like, it's still the... I don't use Twitter very often. It's still the pinned tweet on my Twitter account. It's just all of our McClellan memes. Which Kevin still has the best one. I'm jealous of that.
The art of...
Yeah. I can't remember exactly, but...
Destiny thinks this is a good argument.
All right, let's see it. And content warning, this video is going to deal with transphobia.
Okay, here's a question. Let's say that we were 20 years in
a trigger warning?
The way he primes it. They're still doing trigger warning. He's just priming it to
the future we have brain transplant surgery. Let's say that I take your Rob's brain and I put it into a cis woman's body. Let's say that you wake up and you're like, this feels really wrong. I feel like I feel
Oh
like
wait,
I'm
I've seen
in a
this.
woman's
Hang
body.
on,
Would
hang
you
on.
say that, like,
I've seen this. Isn't he asking, like, if you woke up in this body, would you try to do gender
Super invasive surgery to get your brain in another body?
I've heard this argument a lot before. It's an easy answer. It's no, I wouldn't, because I would never, like, if I woke up tomorrow in Jennifer Aniston's body, would I take some of my thigh flesh and graft it around my vagina to create a Frankencock? Would I cut off my tits? Would I take? No, I wouldn't, because what happened to me was magic. It was obviously, so I would seek out magic to fix
that's a
it.
good point. Yeah.
It's because I'm not gonna fix it with surgery.
But yeah, at the same time too, you're right. If the whole thing was just as easy as transplanting a brain from one brain to another
Yeah, I
brain, and
might
they had
look-
another body to do it to.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would prefer to be in a man's body.
that would be a fix to all this, right? If we actually had those bodies, incubated bodies to switch to, right? Like,
Yeah,
why don't we incubate up other bodies?
His entire premise is destroyed by itself because his premise relies on the fact that we can actually transport.
If magic were real, wouldn't this be right?
Yeah, it would. Destiny, you're correct.
Let's say I have a disorder, an illness, or
This is one of the things that always drives me the craziest too, because of course, like the queer theorists, they do not want anything scientifically falsifiable like this that could be fixed like that.
something that's wrong physiologically or mentally with my body. Yes. What? And then what is the disorder? The disorder is that my brain is in the wrong body. Okay, so what is the solution for that? Put my brain in the body that more aligns with what my brain is. Okay, you just stated exactly. Okay, I love you. You are the most trans-positive conservative I've ever argued with. So that is exactly the position that trans people take. Is what you should do is you need to make the body match what the brain says. So that's why we have things like hormone replacement therapy, sex reassignment surgery. It's to make the body match what the brain is experiencing. So what you just said is that exactly.
Okay. Because in that hypothetical, the person's brain would actually be in the wrong body. That wouldn't just be gender dysphoria or confusion or an identity crisis. That would be literally transplanting a brain to another person. And I think the fact that people have to create such ridiculous hypotheticals is proof that they're wrong, not that they're right. Because if your position only works in a crazy situation that's never happened before and it doesn't work in the real world, then your position doesn't really work.
So the content creator's argument is that
So that's the entirety. Did you guys catch all the phobia in the argument?
A lot of phobia. I'm glad
so-
that Dan prepped me for that, letting me know there was going to be
Good thing
some
we had the
phobia.
trigger warning. We could brace ourselves for it.
thought experiment is a crazy.
Are all of his pictures holding up his shirts? God, he's such.
Yeah,
a
I know.
Soy, he's such a soy redditor. Like he's like king soy redditor.
hypothetical and not anything that has any relationship to the real world. Therefore, the idea doesn't work. And this content creator is wrong because the thought experiment actually is very closely related to what's going on in the real world with gender dysphoria, and particularly with something called gender incongruence. And this content creator very clearly has never studied any of this and has absolutely no idea whatsoever what is being
Take the braces out of your mouth, Dan. You doink.
Very
discussed
clearly
in the scholarship that is studying this. Now, to begin, I am not a specialist in these things. However, one of my academic specializations does overlap with what's going on.
I cited a paper from cognitive science so I, Dan, am now a cognitive scientist.
Here, I wrote my doctoral dissertation on the cognitive science of
As if the cognitive science stuff isn't all loaded up with academics and extremely, extremely new, and it's
religion and the conceptualization of deity and divine agency in the Hebrew Bible. Here is chapter 2 of my doctoral dissertation, Agency and Personhood. And I'm discussing this
in his doctoral dissertation. He cites some cognitive science, so he's a cognitive scientist.
from the perspective of the cognitive
he just
sciences.
get his
And I spend an
wisdom
awful lot of
teeth
this
out?
chapter discussing
He's got some sort of like Invisalign shit in.
concepts of selfhood, how the mind generates an
That's trans stuff, you know that's intersex changing of the body.
Yeah, congrats, Dan. You believe in magic.
understanding not just of the psychological self, but of the biological and the material self as well. And one thing to understand is that the concept of one's self is something that emerges from our embodied.
One of the things that drives me nuts about this, and I think you go actually pull it up from all sorts of other stuff, even some of like, we just go back to like Kobe's and Jacob's things, like the questioning and all that sort of stuff. There's all this like weird little ways that I see evolutionary denial. Just like absolute, they're complete Cartesians. Like the brain, the mind, and the body are completely separate and different. They aren't monists. They didn't grow up together in like a singular body, and it's part of their body no matter what they think is happening. They're Cartesians. The mind is this separate imaginary thing from what the body is.
Embedded, enacted, extended, and experienced thinking within social, cultural, and material environments. And it doesn't always isometrically line up with the body that we can see and touch and test. So, in other words, it can extend beyond it. The
He
concept
said
is
isometrically. So that's how you know that this is real science, that some people are born in the wrong body.
A body that was born that sex only ever experienced any of those things as that body, Dan. You dumbass.
This really reminds me, like, when I listen to a conservative talk radio, and it's like the Young Earth creationist apology hour, and like, we brought on geologist so-and-so, and he's like, well, I can tell you because of my geology, of course Noah's Ark is real, and the Bible is true, and like, he just did the same thing.
Double tectonic plates.
Can not fully inhabit the entire body, or it can be misaligned with the body in a variety of different ways. And this thought experiment, the notion of a brain inhabiting the wrong body, actually closely mirrors how people who experience gender incongruence talk about what they're going through. And I want to share some scholarship that
they bear their testimonies. I know, Dan.
demonstrates what's going on here. To begin, let's take a look at the Sage Encyclopedia of Trans Studies, which was published 5 years ago in 2021. And I want to read, starting on the left, body image disturbance. Body image is a multifaceted and complex psychological construct with multiple synonyms such as body dissatisfaction, body esteem, body dysphoria or euphoria, and weight dissatisfaction. For this entry, body image will be defined as attitudes, experiences, and societal norms regarding one's physical appearance. Body image is unique in the fact that the concept recognizes that the body intersects with both internal beliefs as well as societal ideals, media communications, disciplining behavior, and so on. Broadly speaking, one could say that the psychological self.
What's the solution to weight dysphoria?
He actually brings that up in this.
Can communicate concepts such as gender through physical appearance, clothes, and behavior, whereas society produces physical ideals, which are largely gender specific. Dramatically affecting people's lives, body image.
We're still allowed to call it disordered when it comes to weight.
Issues have been recognized by the World Health Organization as one of the important concepts constituting an individual's quality of life. A positive body image is closely associated with feelings of self-esteem, competency, resilience, and favorable mental health. Although the trans experience can greatly differ on an individual basis, data from clinical facilities providing gender-affirming care indicate that a substantial share of individuals experiencing gender dysphoria, i.e. psychological distress resulting from the incongruence between gender identity and aspects of mostly gendered physical appearance. Body image issues are often closely related to experienced gender dysphoria and are among the main motives for people to apply for gender-affirming medical treatments. Yet, body image issues do not necessarily have to relate to gender dysphoria, but can be present when physical appearance does not meet one's own or societal standards or when experiencing rejection or discrimination. The following sections will further detail cognitive, affective, and behavioral aspects of body image disturbances in trans individuals. Cognitive aspects. Cognitive aspects of body image have been extensively studied and rather chiefly to thoughts and experiences related to physical appearance. On the most elementary level, neuroimaging research has observed that body representation in the brain differs between trans and cisgender or cis individuals. Trans individuals show brain activity more typical for their experienced gender rather than their assigned sex. Researchers have also observed
this stuff's been like debunked, like the types of stuff that they claim here too. But it is the stuff that Judith Butler directly rejects, because if you could go scan brains to see if it's true or not, she would shit on your head and call you transphobic. You know.
Well, you would be transphobic.
Sensory brain circuits show lesser connectivity to emotional circuits.
If it was falsifiable, you'd be the transphobic one, Dan.
Yep.
A disconnect between body registration and emotion. The most well-known aspect of body image is body dissatisfaction. Many trans individuals, especially those appealing for gender-affirming care, experience substantial body dissatisfaction. Whereas earlier theories mostly included dissatisfaction within primary gender markers, such as genitals and breasts, contemporary scholars highlight the importance of other body characteristics as well. The distinction is often made between the trans public and private body image. The
more words you say, the more it makes it true that a brain is in the wrong body.
Body refers to primary sex characteristics important for personal congruence or sexuality, whereas the public body refers to socially visible body characteristics that are of importance for being gendered correctly, such as hair growth or pitch of voice. In this context, the concept of passability is often brought up. Passability refers to the individual's ability to pass, i.e. be viewed by others, as their experienced gender. Generally, trans individuals who pass to a greater degree show higher body satisfaction.
Like, is he reading a study, or is he just quoting a script from a 15-year-old TikToker? Like, he's literally, this is seminary. He's Jacob Hansen explaining why blacks can't get the priesthood. And, like, this is what that is, just church. Yeah. But he's pretending to be a scholar, but this is literally just church.
I haven't heard any single thing that makes destiny close to right.
Action, and trans individuals themselves report more appreciation for body parts that pass more. However, it should be noted that the concept of passability is criticized on the grounds that it reinforces binary gender stereotypes, and that importantly, individuals with poor passability may nevertheless experience few body image issues due to successful coping, and vice versa. Now, let me give you another example.
This is why you guys didn't watch him yet, because you know he's a slog, and you don't even want to have to sit through it twice.
how our mind
You
creates
didn't
a schema
demonstrate anything there, Dan.
or a model or a map of where our
You said people feel like this. People feel disordered like this. Yes.
body is,
yes.
what it's doing, and how well it accords to what the mind expects. There's a neuroscientist named D.S. Ramachandran who's written a couple of books, one with another scholar called Phantoms in the Brain and the other The Telltale Brain. And Ramachandran innovated this approach to treating people who had specific kinds of phantom limb pains. And one specific kind was this issue where people who did not have a hand.
This is Sapolsky shit.
Oh my God! Wait!
missing a hand.
Is he gonna get into? Is he gonna get into body integrity dysphoria? Because body integrity dysphoria is where you think you are an amputee trapped in a whole body. And
it's body whatever dysphoria phobic if you say anything bad about this, Jerry.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. That's what I always tell everybody when they try to argue with me about this. When they're like, "Well, I know it," because the lesbian at work was telling me because trans shit got brought up, and I never bring this shit up. But when it gets
why is there only one lesbian at work? What kind of transphobic, homophobic place do you work at with only one lesbian?
We work at a place where people use power tools. There's not a lot of women to begin with. Okay, so
she's reinforcing the socially constructed stereotype that dykes like to do manly shit sometimes.
But she's talking about her friend's kid who kept telling his parents or her parents, "I'm a boy, and then when she was 11 years old, "I'm a boy and I'm gonna kill myself if I don't get meds." I'm like, okay, that's if she said that, it's because they let her use Tumblr too much. But also, she's got other shit going on with her. But also, if she said, "I'm an amputee and I'm gonna kill myself if you don't cut off my arm," what's the answer to that? This is the only type of dysphoria.
It's what do you call it? Conversion therapy. If you try to talk her out of that.
Yeah, I know. This is the only type of dysphoria where you listen to the dysphoria in order to fix it.
Yeah.
Would feel like their hand was there and was clenched in such an excruciatingly tight fist that it felt like their fingernails were tearing through their palm. And they could not get this clenched fist, which wasn't there, to relax. And so it was excruciating, ongoing, long-term pain. And so he developed a method for treating this. He made this box, which had holes in it for placing their existing hand.
Yeah, it's a mirror.
Their absent hand. And there was a mirror in it that would reflect the image of the existing hand. So it looked like there were two hands in the box. And so he would have people put their existing hand and their absent hand in the box, look at the mirror so they see two hands. And then they would say, "Now clench your existing hand and look at the absent hand." And they're seeing now a clenched fist where their phantom limb is being felt. And then they would unclench their existing hand and their brain would observe their absent limb unclenching the fist, and it would make the phantom go away or would mitigate the pain.
So did they
and what that demonstrates is that our brains, again, create schemas or models or maps for what kind of body it imagines is out there.
How?
And it can produce the sensation of pain for something that's not even there. And again, the whole way that the mind generates the concept of self and body and
that's
all this
not
kind of
even
stuff
there
is complex, but in short,
phobic.
So if my trans daughter tells me my dick hurts, I don't understand how he can't see that he's proving the opposite of his point.
Yeah.
Like that you're treating a real dysphoria by tricking the brain into thinking that, nope, it's right. I don't know.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
Gender dysphoria is usually when the idea about one's own gender identity that the mind generates doesn't line up with what they see when they look at themselves. And there is distress that is created by this incongruence, which is why they refer to this as gender incongruence. This is a very real thing that affects a lot of people out there.
Everybody knows that it's a real thing that they
think. This
think
is an experience that is as real as
it's
you
not a real thing
perceiving two different shades of gray in this image, even though both of these objects are the exact same shade of gray. This is another way that our mind is rifling through the mail of our senses. It's just taking advantage of the fact that your vision expects objects in a light source to be lighter than objects that are not in a light source. And it imagines that this image is a three-dimensional object in space. And because both objects are the exact same shade of gray, your mind changes your perception. Your mind forces you to see something that's not there. So there are a bunch of different ways that our minds are mediating our experience of not just the world around us, but even ourselves. And so many people who have gender incongruence as a part of gender dysphoria report feeling like they're in the wrong body because of that.
They're feeling like they have a dick
because of the incongruence between what they know to be their gender identity and what is on their body. Now, here is some more scholarship you can look at. Gender dysphoria and disorders of sex development.
There's not a thing about this.
Is my dick an optical illusion?
Yeah.
Can a dick be an optical illusion, Dan?
There's not a thing about this that I can't argue for of like why you need to let bodybuilders take all the HGH in the world, make it totally legal, and put them on it, and you know.
This is from 10 years ago.
In fact, have maybe the community pay for it because it should be something that should be covered for all because it's a right.
Chapter 7, Gender Identity Diagnoses, History, and Controversies by Jack Drescher, talks a little bit about this, makes a case for removing gender dysphoria from the DSM as a disorder, as was done with homosexuality decades ago. And here are a bunch of papers that talk about the kind of ongoing neuroscientific experimental empirical research that is trying to better understand why people who have gender dysphoria and gender incongruence experience themselves and the world around them the way they do. Neural systems for own body processing align with gender identity rather than.
But they have like a problem with that of removing it and not moving it and removing it, because if they don't keep it in there, they don't have a way to medicalize it or to make it something that should be covered under insurances, or you know, it's easier for them to keep it that way.
And this is an experiment that demonstrates that people have a sense of gender identity that they experience as real, because that is what their mind is generating, that is not in alignment with their birth assigned sex. That creates that incongruence that is sometimes described as feeling like you're in the wrong body. So the thought experiment closely aligns with what these people are experiencing. Brain connectivity dynamics.
And so what's the treatment, Dan? Is the treatment to give them therapy to correct that, like we would do with any other disorder in the world, or to get them comfortable with their skin rather than completely medicalizing themselves for hundreds of thousands of dollars in a lifetime to never achieve what you think that they could achieve?
Gender and trans men, people with gender incongruence before gender affirmative hormone treatment, neurobiological characteristics associated with gender identity, findings from neuroimaging studies in the Amsterdam cohort of children and adolescents experiencing gender incongruence, body satisfaction and physical appearance in gender dysphoria, body image in adolescents with gender incongruence and its association with psychological functioning, body image in children with gender incongruence. This is just a brief sampling of all kinds of research that is out there that has been going on for many years now, trying to better understand why is it that some people report feeling like they're in the wrong body. And so this content creator obviously does not know any of this, obviously has never done any of this kind of research. Now, again, this is
this kind of research, like you didn't even need all that research. Like he said close to nothing in all of that. Like none of that is like
not
grounded.
my specialization.
It's
and
a Gestalt.
He did know more about this than me. By all means, please correct me, update me, tell me where I have misrepresented or articulated poorly what's going on in this research. I am not trying to.
You said that people feel disordered exist. That's all you said, Dan. But they could go get surgery and have this happen. The fact that Ellen Page spent God knows how much money to ultimately end up looking like a lesbian will never not be really, really funny. You know? There's no answer for what, you know, they're not going to correct it.
Because an authority on this, I'm just trying to speak as someone who is aware of this kind of research, has dabbled in.
Oh, shut up.
With this. And so,
no, you present yourself as a cognitive scientist all over the place.
That thought experiment actually closely corresponds to the way some people report experiencing gender incongruence. And so it is an accurate thought experiment. And this content creator doesn't know that.
That wasn't anything.
They have not done research
near
because they're not curious about this. They don't want to better understand what's going on here. They're just trying to defend their identity politics, which are right-wing authoritarian, which are harmful, which are hateful, which result in people being killed by others, which result in people taking their own lives, which result in all kinds of oppression and all kinds of discrimination and all kinds of prejudice and all kinds of mental health problems. Makes these people's lives harder, and all they're trying to do is exist. And this
that's not what they're trying to do.
Doesn't have the first.
That's all they're trying to do.
So,
they just
David,
want to exist.
With all the sincerity, with all the concern that I can muster, shut the fuck up, because you don't have.
That's so performative. He's such a performative hack. He's such an absolute performative hack.
Christ.
And what you're sharing
that he does that little shit for his TikTok thing to get kudos and praise and all that sorts of stuff.
Harmful.
You performative hack, Dan. When I see you in real life, I want to wedgie your Marvel shirts right up your arse. That's what I want to do to you.
And makes people
that overly violent in a video game.
Lives worse. Stop it. Go find something better to do with your time. Do not talk about trans issues on social media.
Dan, shut the fuck up.
The fifth of this video has been Spider-Man 2099.
I hope you are wearing that shirt when I see you so I can wedgie you with it. Like I want to hang you from a basketball hoop with that.
It keeps hammering home to me that like he is just an apologist. Because like what he just said is, like, and unless you've looked into the true believer account of things, and it's just like with Cardin when he says like, unless you've studied everything there is to know about Mormonism, then you have no right to talk about Mormonism. Like, it's the same thing. Then also, like, because what they're doing is the exact same trick the apologists do with the Big Bang. Like, well, the universe began to exist, therefore the God of Southern Baptist Church of Minnesota is the one true church on earth. And like same things, like you say, trans people exist. People who feel dysphoria exist. Yeah. But then they make this enormous leap to some people are born in the wrong body. We have to cut their dick and balls off to make them happy.
Everybody must accept them and believe them that they are
that's the thing.
Sort of creature they turn themselves into.
People with body integrity dysphoria exist too. They absolutely exist. People who think they are amputees trapped in whole bodies. People who think they are paraplegics trapped in an able body. They exist. They absolutely do. That doesn't mean you should paralyze it. And it doesn't mean that they're paralyzed. Like if you believe you're a paralyzed person trapped in an able body, that doesn't make you paralyzed. This is stupid. I don't even want to say it. I feel stupid even saying it because this is all just obvious shit that any dad could just spout out. Any dude that is not plugged into any of this at all could just be like, no, that guy's not paralyzed.
Of course, it's 100% real and true or whatever that people feel that way. And
Yeah.
I do not believe the treatment of it should have anything to do with any sort of modern day surgeries or pharma.
Schizophrenics exist, but the voices that they're hearing don't exist.
They really believe. That was the exact argument I had with Seth Garrett when he cut me off.
Oh, yeah?
When he blocked me, yeah. It was that exact same thing where he's like, well, people really, really experience this. I'm like, yes, schizophrenics really, really experience their delusions. You don't affirm them.
Yeah. Did I forget to name that our day dude autistic hero of the week? Is he the autistic hero of the week?
He's academic hero of the week.
Do you guys know who this Mikey and the Missus guy is?
Oh yeah, I've seen him a little bit. Oh man.
So.
He does comedy sketch,
he's on
Mormon comedy
with
sketch, and a bunch of people thought he was probably active or something.
No, I was pretty sure he was Exmo, but like it's one of those things where he's actually, most of his skits I've seen are fairly nice to Mormons.
Yeah, you could show him to either a believer or a non-believer,
But come on, man, not on the vocal fry.
Oh, he does vocal fry.
No, he's on with
fry.
Natasha. It's what Chris has pulled up.
And it drives people insane. Like they just want to put me in a damn category, and you're like, sorry, womp womp. Doesn't matter. I mean, I wouldn't be able to make these jokes if I wasn't a Latter-day Saint at some point, whether I am now or before. So that's right there. But I mean, if you're an eagle-eyed person and you're looking at the background, I mean, you're going to see things like this, and stuff like that. And
for those who are just listening, he just held up a pride flag. So
yeah, so like a pride flag. Funny, I'm being irreverent, but not.
I just happen to have this flag with me.
Yay! Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you've ever seen any of his skits.
Yeah, they're not like great, but
let me see if
they're pretty harmless.
He's got a TikTok or something like that.
Something like that. Frickin' Natasha.
There was already people saying that they're like upset at the title of his thing that it's Mikey and the Missus because that's sexist. Like, where's her name?
Yeah, well, no, he's definitely from. I've only seen a few of his things, and they're like okay, they're not great, but they all seem to be like
Mormon. When I was a kid, I couldn't have pretzel rods because they looked too much like cigars. I was 14 years old when I figured out that the F word wasn't fart. When I was on my mission, I noticed that every nice person smelled a certain way. Then later in college, I found out that smell was weed. I can't repeat the things I was told about Catholics. For the longest time, I didn't know what gay meant. And we had Siegfried and Roy right in front of us the whole time. I was told the Holy Ghost goes to bed at midnight, and other people said the Holy Ghost went to bed at 9. I think what they meant to say is the Holy Ghost goes to bed bed as soon as you're horny. One time I got in trouble for impersonating Boyd K. Packer in seminary. But I can't get in trouble for it now.
Mormon.
That sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's most of them are like
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible, and it's not even like overtly shitting on the Mormon church. You can tell what he's trying to do is sort of garner an audience from both sides.
Yeah. I guess he has like a radio show too.
Yeah, he does.
But he's got a genuflect to old Vocal Fry there.
Mikey, no!
More
Don't
Mormon
talk
crap
to
this
Vocal
week.
Fry.
Evangelical mistaken for Mormon after treating everyone with kindness and respect. Largely true, again, unless you're an ex-Mormon, I guess. I mean, is there a type of a stereotype, a type of person that an ex-Mormon's likely to not treat with kindness and respect? They generally do, unless you're.
I mean, it's evangelicals are sorry, Risto, but a lot of times they're dicks, even to me, because anytime that our Mormons Christian argument gets brought up, I'm like, well, yeah, like, but I'm looking at it from like the perspective of a zoologist classifying tigers. You know, if like white tigers don't think Bengal tigers are true tigers and you shouldn't classify them as such, I'd be like, well, they fit under that category. Like, I know you think they're blasphemous in their beliefs, but yeah, I know that they don't believe in the Trinity, and yeah, I know they think that Jesus and Satan are brothers, but like, yeah, I know they think that you're going to become gods, even though they try to claim they don't. But like, they believe Jesus died for their sins. So if I'm just from an outside perspective going to classify this, I'm going to put them under the umbrella of Christianity.
It's especially weird coming from evangelicals because evangelicals tend to be very Pauline in their theology. Damn it, I just lost my train of thought again. I'm playing this game as we go. What the hell were we just talking about?
Evangelicals.
I still can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, damn it. Oh, yeah, just that. Sorry. I remember now. So they're very Pauline. And for Paul, what is a Christian? If you have faith in the resurrection. Like, you have to have faith in Christ and the resurrection. That's what Paul said. You know, so
yeah,
okay.
and it's not like that. It's like I don't have a dog in this race, really, but it's like if two different types of so there's different.
Really dumb.
Well, there's different forms of flat Earth, right? There's the flat earthers that believe that we're on a floating disc. There's the flat earthers that believe that, you know, there's the ice wall, and then it's an infinite land mass beyond that. And so if one of those two types of flat earthers became more dominant and was like, he's not a real flat earther, I'd be like, well, yeah, you are. He is. He believes the earth is flat just like you do. And if he said, no, he's blasphemous, I'd be like, okay, I don't really care. But
it's a weird, I guess it's kind of a nice way to call you a heretic. Because, like, you know, if we're steel manning the evangelical whatever position, God damn it, my brain is all whacked out today. Then like creedal Christianity, that's Christianity, and Mormons would simply be heretical Christians. You know, but I guess it's almost nicer to just say you're not even in the ballpark than to call you a heretic. I don't know. I guess calling you a heretic maybe lends a sense of legitimacy. I don't know.
I guess
it does get weird though. Like I kind of always have a thought, like having left religion altogether. It's like, why are you guys fighting about this? Like you agree on 99% of shit, just go with it.
Well, it's kind of like.
But I guess I don't know. I guess if you really believe it, that you're going to hell if you don't believe the right thing. It's strange.
Well, it's the way I always kind of frame it is the difference between Mormons and a lot of other like evangelicals, especially, is if a Mormon tells you, "Oh, I believe that the Godhead is three distinct different people," and you say, oh, I believe that they're all one and the same, they'll be like, oh, well, I think you're wrong, but whatever. But then you'll say, oh, I think you're wrong and you're going to burn in hell forever because of that. That's sort of the difference. That's where I can give the Mormons the edge there and being a little bit nicer. Is they'll be like, well, I think you're wrong, but it's not like God's going to condemn you forever. And the evangelicals will say, I think you're right about a lot of things, but this one thing that you're wrong about is going to send you to hell forever.
The Mormon afterlife is like the most inclusive of the Christians. Like, you'll get a shot. If you can't figure it out now, that's okay. We'll get you in the next round.
Well, our lowest place is what you're already imagining heaven is, in a way.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So you're
That's
there.
something that
You get
Bob
there.
Price, he talks about it a lot, about how silly the idea of a God who, like, you get to heaven and you have to take a theology quiz. And if you don't get 100 on the theology quiz, you go to hell. Like, that's the way he frames. Like, it's just so silly. It's just it doesn't make sense. Like, that any kind of Christian God, that like that's how that works.
I always thought it was kind of weird that the religious would side with each other over the atheists. I always thought, I don't anymore because I've seen it long enough, but for a long time in the past, I'd be like, no, like if you didn't agree, with if you didn't agree with them, like if you lost your faith, you wouldn't join up with them. You'd join with me, right? So, like, why wouldn't I be the second person you align with? But
yeah,
but no, it just doesn't work that way. They flock together against the atheist types, and then. But
yeah, they really do.
That makes sense. So, I mean,
it's kind of interesting. Like, their arguments against atheists are all the same. Like, they are all in lockstep there. But when they're arguing with each other about their whatever little trinities and whatnots, suddenly it all breaks down.
Like, I so don't believe in your Trinity thing that if I didn't believe in my thing, I wouldn't jump to the Trinity thing. I'd jump to the atheist thing. So why don't you secondly most closely align with the atheist person?
That was the Jehovah's Witness girl trying to convert me. We kind of dated. She was kind of a girlfriend in high school, and we were trying to convert each other. And my way of trying to convert her was trying to tell her why I think what I believe is true, and her way of trying to convert me was trying to tell me why what I believe is untrue. And I told her a bunch of times, I was like, look, you're looking up this stuff to disprove Mormonism, right? And let's say you do it. Let's say you successfully do it. Why would I immediately jump to the Jehovah's Witnesses? Like, you've provided me nothing, and like I'm gonna be like, oh, Mormonism's not true. I guess this must be true.
Witnesses.
I was 18 months in my mission, and I was basically at this place. If any church is true, it has to be the Mormon Church. But if the Mormon Church was ever true, it must be an apostasy. And like that was like my last step before just not believing anymore. But because that's what I was at. It's like, yeah, this is only maybe Mormonism is true. And so I had the exact same feeling that Jared's talking about, where it's like there was never a thought of looking around and going like, well, what do these guys have to offer? Like,
there's so much in Mormonism that says that if you read its actual books and not just like what the current people say, that absolutely says that it could apostatize again, type stuff. I mean, according to it, every single thing that was once true did apostatize all the way up until it. Why couldn't the cycle happen again?
It's like Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. Archaeologists have officially discovered a massive, completely lost ancient civilization hidden deep underneath the Amazon rainforest using advanced LiDAR laser technology.
Going back to the Mormon Church.
Yeah.
That proves it. That proves it as much as Dan McClellan. Some people feel kind of queer.
Troy says, I love that. Troy made this meme and posted it on Jacob's post here. It says, but I've been reliably informed that we have already discovered all the ancient cities and people in ancient America.
Who said that? Like, whoever said that?
Whoever
said we discovered everything.
People have said it, not
Reddit
not
tards.
informed people, but yeah, people will say it.
Well, sure.
Not any sort of actual like archaeologist or anything like that. But Troy made this thing on it, so he was talking about that. I love how that meme turned out. I plan upon using it again when this argument comes around again and again and again. Yeah, do you think they'll dig up that city? I was saying that I would like to, if if I had a bunch of money, I would like to get there first and bury deep into the ground some swords and some chariots, maybe some horse bones. I'd never tell nobody.
It's like getting all excited when I remember Ward Radio. Their whole thing was trying to say that, like, oh, we're getting closer and closer and closer to the truth, right? Like, we're getting closer to proving the Book of Mormon. And what they mean is that we thought that the ancestors of horses were never in the American continents. But then we found out that they were there 60,000 years ago. And then we found out that they were there 55,000 years ago. And I'm like, okay, but that's not when you need them to be there to prove your thing.
They would check it off the list, though, right? If this stuff
yeah, but that's 50,000 years away from when you need them to be there.
But they would still check it off the list. That would go off the anachronism, because they already did that with some of the things like the barley and that sort of stuff. If the barley didn't fit, they checked it off the list.
I need to keep a log of the things that you pronounce funny.
What's that?
You said anachronism.
Anachronism.
I've never heard anybody say that. Yeah. It's sometimes you say things that it's funny. I need to write them down.
I think I'd say that away. I think I'd continue saying them that way. That's not just like
reading it's like my it's an autism thing. It's my autistic brother-in-law. Anytime we talk about video games, we're playing Minecraft, and he wanted me to do something. I was like, how do I do it? It's like, well, first you got to open up your inventory. And I was like, what? You mean my inventory? And he's like, it's inventory. And I was like, well, no, literally everyone else pronounces it inventory. Or inventory. Fuck. And
yeah, I think
and then
keep pronouncing that.
But
one
then,
how I do,
then like it's been like 13 years, and he still pronounces it that way. Wait. Oh, what's the other one?
I'd probably hold to that one. I said Bayesian last week, and I think I'll say that forever too.
You did say Bayesian.
It's Bayesian.
Oh,
but,
no, I'm gonna think of it. There was another one you did a bunch. I'll have to remember. It's funny.
Anyway, what were we saying about this? What if it were true? Like, what if this is 40,000 years old, but there's chariots and horses, and like, does it just get checked off the list?
Well,
there's coins
for them, yeah, for them it will.
Or it's like 1200. It's the year 1200, but all those things are there. I mean, I guess that could maybe be an argument.
That would be more of an argument for sure. I understand what they're saying. I understand that saying horses didn't exist in North America, and then you find out that they did exist 60,000 years ago. Like, okay,
so they could be somewhere.
But then you find out actually they existed 40,000 years ago. That's closer to an argument, but it's still just
what if there's murals to what are those things they said were in places of horses?
Tapirs,
like murals of tapirs pushing chariots around or pulling chariots around. What if that's all there?
Wait, it's coming to me. Oh, okay. Wait, I'm gonna type something in the StreamYard chat, and I want you to pronounce it. Fuck, hang on. Give me a sec. I can't remember how to spell it.
One can't say it, one can't spell it.
I know.
Pick one. Be honest. Mormon stories. I like
there you go.
Others on Mormon stories, e.g. Let me see if I can get to it. I like others on Mormon stories, e.g. Nemo, Julia, Colby, Megan, Margie. I'd rather Mormon stories be mostly John. And John's getting voted. I voted for John.
Oh, I would vote for John. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
I don't see anything that. Oh, there it is.
I think it's one of those things that people are saying that's what they want, but in reality, if they got it,
it would die.
It would die. Yeah. The show would die.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Okay, how do you pronounce that?
Disparate?
Yeah.
How did I say it?
It's everybody else pronounce it like disparate.
Disparate.
Oh, well, I'll always say disparate on that one too.
I know.
When we say a disparate impact, I mean, I think I get that from HR stuff. But
it's because they're DEI. They don't know how to talk.
I've been trained by DEI teachers.
I've only heard disparate.
No, I've only heard disparate.
Forrest says, I have a theory that smart people often mispronounce words because they read the words before they hear them, when most people hear the words before they read them. Yeah,
That's
you're probably right.
absolutely true.
No, that's totally true. I'm a smart person, and I do that all the time. Thanks, Forrest.
All right, pick one. Okay, so then they had this picture this week. Do you think this is a sign that this is like passing of the torches? They're going to pass it all on to these people? Like those are the future of... Because I think John's...
Jeez, they have a diversity problem. For people who talk so much about inclusion, good Lord.
I think he's talking about seriously stepping away, and who's going to take...
So,
what's his...
Go back to
has
the
he
list.
made enough to retire? Is he like...
No, I think he'd stay on as like director.
What was the list of... Because I saw like...
He'd still take the money, you mean?
Nemo, no. Julia, no. Colby, yeah, that's fine. I don't know Megan. And Margie, no. Margie just is there to go, oh, that's so hard for you. Like that's all she does.
She's Mormon Robin.
I don't know. Maybe Nemo wouldn't be a bad interviewer. Maybe Julia wouldn't either. I don't think Colby would be a bad interviewer. None of them would do.
I think they do some like good episodes too, even just when they're carrying on that Mormon discussions thing where they're actually talking about possibly the stuff that we liked from ex-Mormonism 20 years ago. It's just like going over like what's possible or not possible, what are the stats and any sort of that stuff. Like I never have any complaints about it. And they do some good episodes even recently on it. They did some more Book of Abraham stuff pretty recently, but I think they underestimate like that John is a personality. We've always said he's got that success head. He's got the Conan O'Brien success head, and that goes a long way. He sounds like Craig Bolerjack. He sounds like he sounds like a sports reporter telling you about your Mormonism being non-consensual. It carries. When Larson passed it on, oh boy, howdy, did that die fast.
That was a thing that I thought, like, did he tank it on purpose? Was that his way of getting out of it without...
You don't have anything without me. Yeah. Like, oh, you should have kept me around.
Well, I believe that he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But, like, I think...
didn't want it to be a thing that, like, followed him around like an albatross.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, because it really did seem like sabotaging the show by picking who they did.
Is it albatross?
No.
No. What do you think of aluminium foil?
Oh yeah, the Brits say all that stuff all wonky all the time.
Aluminium.
Are you ready to say all your Brit stuff in Britain, Flip?
I was gonna make a joke to the kids about, I hope you all practice your posh accents. We're gonna be in central London.
Your son doesn't really have an accent, right?
Not at all.
Lived his whole life like that over there.
I mean, he got there when he was like 8 or 9, so I think he was probably already locked in.
Yeah.
So he just didn't even like try it or do anything like that. And
the thing I don't
all the
understand.
People over there think he sounds like a redneck.
No, he said he got made fun of a lot in school because of his accent. Because I mean, he was the American.
No,
the thing I don't
because
understand.
he probably says a lot of British slang in an American accent.
Yeah, no, like literally.
Dad, quit being a wanker.
Like the Cockney slang. Oh, give me a bit of the old jelly welly.
Dad, you're such a daft git.
He doesn't use the slang as much, but like he does absolutely use British vernacular. But the thing I don't understand is that his stepbrother, who was born and raised in Liverpool, he sounds like an American too, which I don't understand.
Parents play a big role.
I mean, because his mom's American, but like my mom's Brazilian. I never spoke with an accent. None of my siblings ever did.
So that makes sense for you because you were in America. That is a little weird.
No. I'm saying his stepbrother. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Is stepdad British?
Yeah. No, he sounds like a Beatle.
Okay, that's a little weird. That
like
your
you
kid
ever
didn't...
heard the thing that like Christian Bale has both accents because he grew up in both places, like being shared by his parents, and he says he 100% goes in and out of either one of them, not just for like movie roles. Like he might choose one or the other any given day.
Yeah,
what the fuck is Johnny Depp's accent? Because
affected.
Yeah, something like that. Because I I didn't understand this until he was going through that the Amber Heard shit. I thought he was from Europe somewhere for my whole life. Yeah, and then he's from fucking Kentucky.
I thought he's Californian. I didn't.
No,
know
he's from Kentucky.
Wow.
I mean, he just kind of slurs his words a bit, doesn't he?
He does. I guess he's just always drunk. Yes, I had a mega pint of
I guess that's probably what it is.
wine. But yeah, I've never met somebody that sounds like that when they're drunk. I think it's fake.
What do the Brits think of his accent? Have you ever heard?
Like you said, they made fun of him in school, but other than that, I think.
No. What do the Brits think of Johnny Depp's accent?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know. They probably think he's American.
I never know what they think of that stuff until like you hear somebody that they say does it really good, like supposedly.
Well, no, I remember thinking.
Bridget Jones's Diary, the girl who went out on a date with John DeLynn, she supposedly does a great one. What's her name?
Oh, Catherine Zeta-Jones. No,
John DeLynn didn't date Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I don't remember. I remember thinking. I remember telling somebody when I was in high school when How to Train Your Dragon came out, and I watched it. And I was like, Gerard Butler does a pretty good Scottish accent.
He does a terrible American accent. Man.
They're like, it's because he's fucking Scottish, you retard. Like, oh, okay. I don't notice. I don't
Pretty
generally.
Surprised to learn that. What's his name? Andrew Lincoln.
Oh yeah.
He's from London.
Zellweger. John DeLynn went on a date
that's
with her
the
in
one.
high school, but supposedly she had like a great accent in that.
Do you want to know why I thought it was Catherine Zeta-Jones? Because, in The Office, Michael Scott, he writes fan fiction about himself being a secret agent, and he dates Catherine Zeta-Jones. He marries her.
Oh.
And
so you thought
and
it was
I
fan fiction
view
in DeLynn's brain?
Yeah, I view John DeLynn kind of like a Michael Scott type character. So that was a connection.
You don't know the lore of him going on a date with her?
No, I remember.
He took her on a date, and supposedly she went home crying because she got sent home for porn shoulders on the date.
The one that got away.
Here's some logic, some philosophical logic from Jacob. If B requires A and C requires B, C requires A equals work, B equals living faith, C equals salvation. Risto is there saying define requires.
Was that Risto?
Yeah.
C, right?
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Did you guys put that one together yet?
I mean, it's just like how, if you want warp drive, you need plasma phase inverters. Without plasma phase inverters, then you have no dilithium chamber for containment field. So if you want A, you're going to need B and C.
That did clear that up for me, I would say.
If you want the Force lightning, you're going to first need the Force. But if you want the Force, you're going to need to join either the Sith or the Jedi. So if you want Force lightning, you're going to have to join either the Sith or the Jedi.
Okay.
So he's right.
MAGA is starting men's only gyms to avoid distractions. If you go far enough left, you get guns back. And if you go far enough right, you get gay sex back. Aren't they going to the gyms because they don't want to look at the chicks? Because they get horny for the chicks? I mean, so I guess it's gay to go back to gay gyms. But at the same time, this thing's just not true. Like, you can't create any men's only gym.
No.
There is no way, unless they're going to the park and working together. Even that, they'd be able to infiltrate. It's just imaginary, whatever that is. Going to the gym, expectations and reality. This is the truest true that was ever true. All that time for biceps, and the dudes love them. This is Alejandro talking
This was
about.
Yeah, he posted that, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is the least shocking thing I've ever heard. Payroll? Yeah, of course. It's an air-conditioned job. Yeah. Oh, women are overrepresented in payroll. No way.
They're overrepresented in jobs of air conditioning. You're absolutely right about that. And I've seen somebody put that thing up in the world. That's actually been researched for sure. Way underrepresented in jobs that aren't landscaping and all that sorts of stuff. Not a ton of them out there. I brought this thing up there forever because like Alejandro says the thing down at the end of this that usually drives the red pillar types nuts, but it is absolutely true, is that they're going around saying no wonder men aren't getting married, they are deadbeats, and they blame women for not wanting to date fucking losers. And so, I mean, I commented on that one, but I shared these couple of clips that were around, one from a left-wing guy and one from a right-wing guy. They basically say the same thing. That, oops, this isn't it. This idiot. Did you see that? You know who this guy is? Did you see the stuff this week that he...
Society.
This guy's Scott Calloway. He's been the dude who's been trying to reconcile incels for the left and speak for them. He's the left-wing red pillar. But he got really upset this week because he was doxxed in Mom Donnie's thing.
Oh, yeah, I did.
He was doxxed in Mom Donnie's thing of people with second residencies, which turned out to be a bunch of bullshit, too, because they said they were only going to find second residences of $5 million.
$5 million. More. Yeah, and then they went down to 1 million.
They slipped in, but that doesn't include apartments and complexes or those sorts of things that are for 1 million. Well, that's everything in New York City. Like, nothing's a house in New York City. So it was 1 million, and there's nothing in New York City that doesn't cost over 1 million, especially in certain areas of it. I wonder if you can buy any sort of apartment for 1 million there, for less than 1 million.
Oh, I doubt it.
So it's everybody. They basically slipped in that it's everybody. You know.
Young men are falling further faster than in any time in history, and women, generally speaking, mate socioeconomically horizontally and up. I'm sorry. Women mate horizontally and up socioeconomically, men horizontally and down. And the pool of men horizontal and up is shrinking. Meanwhile, and this is wonderful, no group of people has ascended faster globally than women. There are more women seeking tertiary education now than men globally. And when you look at some nations don't like women going to college, that's a remarkable stat. The number of women elected to parliament globally, you know, the elected body, has doubled in the last 30 years. There are more women, single women in the US now that own homes than single men. There's going to be potentially nearly 2 to 1 female to male college grads in the next 5 years.
Wow.
And by the way, we don't want to do anything that gets in the way of that. That's amazing. But what we also have to acknowledge is that if we don't figure out a way to produce more economically and emotionally viable young men, we're going to have a lack of household formation. Because regardless of the Hallmark Channel movie you see, women, generally speaking, aren't interested in men who aren't socially aren't socioeconomically at the same level or superior to them.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're really gonna
found that out.
Yeah, you're really gonna appeal to the fucking incels with that one, buddy.
So aren't we engineers of people around here? Aren't the left able to re-engineer people? You know,
that's the claim.
So they can't re-engineer women to wanting to date horizontally and down. That's
Like
is that
coal
not in the
miners.
cards?
I'll be honest with you. I'm an exception to this. Like if I were on the market right now, I would definitely be willing to go. I'd maybe go horizontally, but mostly up when it comes to economics.
Jason Sugar.
Oh, absolutely, I would do that. I would feel like a pathetic piece of shit once I found her, but I'd be a very rich, pathetic piece of shit in my head.
It's so funny because you see all these different women online who will go on and like complain on TikTok or something that they can't find men, and they'll announce out the reason why men should want them, and they'll announce out stuff that would be appealing to women. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
Girl boss, I have a job, I have a car, I have a house, I pay my own bills, and now I have 14.
It's how little
businesses.
How little time do you have to interact with males and female humans to realize that a dude would prefer like a chick that works at McDonald's and is a sweetheart and who is attractive and is just kind of like kind and fun and outgoing and stuff like that to a a bitch, recluse, ugly woman who makes $6 billion a year. Like if I met Morgan and if I met an ugly, bitchy version of the female Elon Musk at the same time, I still would have gone with Morgan.
Yeah.
Like, that's just that's how male brains work. And I don't know how that's surprising to anyone, because it's not surprising to me the other way around. Like, I don't know how it surprises female humans that this is how male humans act, because it does not surprise male humans that female humans look for men who are the providers.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of their observations. That's it. It's not that they've read the studies on this. It's that they just have seen people. So how are so many women shocked when they're like, I don't understand. I have a doctorate and I make 7 figures and I can't find a man. Like, that's not what men are looking for. How are you shocked? Have you ever in your life met or talked to a man?
Yeah, you're like everyone. Like, have you ever heard a guy say like, "Oh, I'm struggling to date because I just can't find anyone that's good enough for me"? Like, no, that's not something men say.
No.
Yeah, but it's always funny too, because no matter what, once again, it's men's problem. Women are most affected. You know what I mean? Like, women are getting legs up. This is something I think it was this guy here on Twitter says, has Grok map out all the sources for women from the early years to the later years, and this is the Grok results. So he shared it, and there's just this extensive thing on all the things that give women legs up in society nowadays, from programs to messaging to everything. You know what I mean? It's just infinitely long. All the stuff that's available to them to push them up and get them ahead, and they are getting ahead in almost all degrees, almost all higher education, higher wages, lower wages, and all that sorts of stuff. The only thing that ever makes them dip out is that sociology lady said they're not allowed to talk about causes of the wage gap. That doesn't keep it ideological in sociology. They're not allowed to look at choices at all. and that's what I say is like a Procrustean bed. A Procrustean bed is the they have to fit it into their worldview. They can't look at the agency of women, the choices, the economic choices of women as to being why there's any sort of difference there. But of course, now that women are doing much, much, much better, and women most affected, men need to get their shit together.
No, I've always said this. Me, the anti-feminist, misogynist prick, I believe that women have agency much more than feminists believe that women have agency.
Yeah, 100%. Last Mormon thing. Did you guys watch the Alcatraz video that caused all the ruckus?
No.
Well,
Darth Vader could be your bishop. The culture could be like Alcatraz, and it will not drive you away. Some claim church culture is driving people away. The members feel unseen, disconnected, empty, and the solution, they say, is a transformation to a more open, inclusive, transparent, loving, and tolerant culture wherein more people can comfortably gather. The ultimate question is not, do I fit in? The ultimate question is the church true? None of this is to say we should stand idly by as people walk out the door with broken and lonely hearts, thinking there's no place for me here, I don't belong here. But belief trumps discomfort. If viewed from the institutional perspective, then those arguments for leaving make sense. If you see the church as the kingdom of God on earth, then you will stay, come what may.
Okay, so this guy's old as fuck, just like the Quorum of the 12, right? How come none of them are this plugged in? Because he's right. Essentially, it's if you think it's true, you're gonna stay. That the only reason you'll leave is because you don't think it's true anymore. Well, granted, there's a lot of people who, I don't know. Far be it from me to lend Mormon apologists one of their stupidest criticisms, but it does feel like people who leave for cultural reasons probably never believed it to begin with. And that's not really to insult those people, but like, if you stop going because your bishop is a dick to your son or something like that, well, then you didn't really believe it, right? He's just going with the full-on deontological stance of people will stay if they believe that it's true. And this seems like something that would resonate so much more with Mormon people than anything that the Quorum of the 12 ever said. They don't really say anything of substance ever. Like, you want to hold your church together, you immediately you knock out, I don't know, knock out Gong and put this guy in. I know you won't do that, but
yeah, I mean, I think he's absolutely right. For some reason, it set off Word Radio, which is really funny because they pushed back on me that I said that they should maintain keeping their culture around here.
So wait, they didn't like what this guy said?
No, they were really upset about it.
I didn't watch that.
Did you listen, Flip?
No, I should have. I don't know. I have a hard time with those guys. Sometimes I can make it through a whole episode, but usually.
Troy says, here's the deal. People are leaving both because of social reasons and because it's not true. I get that. What I'm saying is that, like, if you leave because of social reasons, did you believe it was true to begin with?
I mean, I think they did. I also wonder how much they actually thought about it. Like I always say about, I thought it was a strange dichotomy with my parents that my dad was the ultimate Jack Mormon, didn't keep the word of wisdom, didn't pay his tithing, didn't go to church, but he knew all the history, he knew all the doctrine, he was the guy I had doctrinal conversations with. Whereas my mom is totally faithful, but she doesn't really care about doctrine. She doesn't talk about it, she just likes church.
Sure, but I'm talking about the people that actually really, really believe. Like, have you ever met anybody who says, "Oh, I left the church. I still think it's true, but I left it"?
No.
Yeah, that person doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, I don't know, actually. I know a lot of inactive people who, it's just kind of like that. We're like, well, we're Mormons, we believe, but we're just not going to church. We just don't go to church.
Sure, but it's not that they left. It's not that it's not that they become ex-Mormon. It's like, this would be like if you had an Alessa Grenfeld that said, this church is patriarchal and shitty and terrible and it's homophobic and all this terrible stuff and you guys should all shun it and it should burn to the ground. It is true, though.
Yeah.
The people that leave and join another sect for us, though, like, those people didn't, like, you can't believe that the Brighamite sect is true and then join another sect. I understand what you're talking about, because, like, Jacob Isbell is a good example of that. He still believes in, like, Joseph Smith and all that shit. So that's probably the closest you can come to what I'm talking about.
What was funny about it is they said, and they've been saying themselves for a while, that Elders Quorum sucks and is dead, and that they didn't mince words about it. They said that stuff just sucks, and we should make the culture of that way, way, way better. And
when did they think that? At what point in time did they think Elders Quorum was alive?
They actually said that too. They said never.
Oh, okay. Because for the entire time I've been alive, it's Elders Quorum has sucked.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I always find a little bit refreshing about them, is they're at least willing to say, stuff like that. And but it was kind of funny because when I was there with them, they pushed back on me saying that they should hold on to those cultural things because, if you're looking at, I guess I got that stuff from that gal who talked about ugly maxing. I don't really listen to it, but her talking about just the general thing of how Marxists try to tear down the things that are culturally significant, beauty and all that sorts of stuff. But from the beginning, I was telling them like the Gramscians go after your cultural things, and they are the ones to attack and call suburban Utah culture whatever we kind of hold like a little bit nostalgia for, you know, the baseball games and the basketball, the ward ball, the freaking road shows. I actually think that stuff's a big reason why participation's down.
That is one of the things I remember saying this on Morgan's channel when she did it. One of the things that annoyed me the most about the Mormons was that they'd have that thing, the church is true and the people aren't. And after I left the church, that actually pissed me off because I was like, no, it's the people they're the things that I like. Yeah, sure, you have your shitheads who are like at worst super judgmental, but I can deal with you being judgmental. I don't fucking care about that at all. I like the people. I can't think of, if I had to study all of the world's religions and to decide to live in a city that was majority populated by any of the religions, I bet Mormons would rank way up there. Honestly, I bet Jehovah's Witnesses would rank way up there. It's not about whether or not it's true, but it's not the people that I had my issue with. It's the doctrine.
I'm telling you, they argued directly against that to me. They said we need to cut all that stuff out and cut all the cultural baggage and just talk about what's true. That's what they said with me. You know.
Yeah, they're wrong. That's
very wrong.
Yes, almost everybody does in one way or another right now. Our culture is having a big problem. We've got some great stats, okay? But Hayden, your entire channel is based on what?
Dead Elders Corps.
I think everybody in this chat would agree Elders Quorum is functionally dead now in most wards. True or not true?
100%. Dead is flattering. Dead is a very generous word.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
You know when someone's been dead like a really long time and you're like, you know, did somebody throw up on the road, or is that a dead raccoon on the road? It's been there long enough that you can't quite tell. That's most Elders Quorums.
Yeah, rigor mortis has definitely set in at this point.
Rigor mortis, Elders Quorums.
It's getting bloated. It's smelling. It's
that
pretty
implies
bad.
that it used to be alive.
Yeah. Good point there, buddy. Every time Jonah talks, I want to disagree with him.
I think they're being honest there, but I told you guys, like, when I went back with Kevin, you know, and it was just 2 hours long. But I went into like the very first Elders Quorum, and I hadn't been there in 20 years or something. I hadn't been to an Elders Quorum maybe like longer than that. I'd been to 1 or 2 sacrament meetings for blessings, right? So going to Elders Quorum for the first time in over 20 years, and we sit down, and we're all just kind of sitting there quiet. And the first question they ask is, what does it mean to be a child of God?
Fuck.
Everybody just sits there like listening. I'm not exaggerating anything. That was the starting question. And then the Elders Quorum just silence, and somebody goes, well, it means you look our Father, like Jesus like a like silence. Yes. And I was like, what? This is still here, and this isn't like this isn't like primary class or something like that.
It's the most boring nostalgia ever.
Yeah, and
I remember the dentist's office waiting room. That was quaint.
But I remember talking to Kevin after. I was like, I didn't think it was that bad, you know. And it was like, Kevin, you and I got on the phones and we were like sharing each other like 90s Nintendo Contra stuff between each other, like next to each other, you know, which was cool. But that wasn't like the class wasn't at all stimulating. And I know not one person in there was stimulated. Like they were going through motions. There wasn't anybody who could honestly say that was. Let alone a fun time. It's supposed to be fun or not. Like nobody was learning anything, you know. But
I was talking to my super faithful but cool aunt, and I told her my thing about like the 2 reasons I don't go to church is that I don't believe in it and it's boring. And she laughed, and then she also like totally copped it. She was like, "Yeah, I don't know what we do about the boring thing." Like she was literally like, she knows.
Well, I remember I had to go for a month, and So every single time I was in the sacrament meeting, some of the, like as always happens, some of the talks were okay, and some of them were, woo boy, you know, I'm not saying anything new, but I'm saying it's just right exactly where it always was. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's kind of what you get if you let everybody talk.
Yeah.
You should. There's people who are good at talking and people who are bad at it.
See, that's proof of the truth of the church, because unlike those silly Catholics, we don't pay professionals to be
I noticed
our.
it was jarring to me, especially after I'd spent like a year going and sitting down at the Magdalene Cathedral with the ex-girlfriend who's Catholic, and there's all these murals and pictures and, you know, stained glass on the wall that go forever. They're even kind of weird and creepy in these sorts of ways. And even though that got incredibly repetitive and boring, at least I could sit there and look at all those murals for an hour or something. Then you go in like that church ward, and the wall behind it is white, like some panels that aren't even in the shaping of it. And you're like, this is an expensive, big, kind of newish building, and the wall behind where the people are talking looks like it could be a cubicle setting. You know what I mean? and you're like, whoa, like why did they do it this way? But you know, I don't know. Anyway, back to guys and girls. I was trying to find a picture of humanities faculty at Cambridge in 1965 to do a similar comparison to this, because I'm sure it's kind of similar, because we saw the picture of the Cambridge people a moment ago. But this picture came out of Halo Studios this week. The new Halo's release came out, and everybody's angry about it. You know exactly why people are angry about the
so there's a few things. There's they put too many cinematics in it. They changed it because the first Halo game didn't have a whole lot of cinematics. They were very brief, concise, and then you get to gameplay. Halo 2 had a lot more cinematics, and that kind of made people like it more. So I understand why they would put more cinematics in it, even though it's not a good move. Then there was the side characters. They kept changing the race and the gender. There's also, I would call this the second most egregious thing they did, but a lot of people think it's the most egregious. They have sort of a DLC campaign where you can do, it's like something that happened before the events of Halo 1, where you play as Master Chief and you meet some of the ODST troopers, which are just a different group, because the Spartans are genetically enhanced and Master Chief is supposed to be the last of the Spartans. So he's basically he's like Captain America amongst regular soldiers, and ODST, they're like Army Rangers amongst regular soldiers. And the leader of the ODST in this is a woman, and she's just a huge bitch to Master Chief the whole time. And I'd call that the second most egregious thing, but most people call it the first. What I would say is the stupidest thing they did was, there's this part you get into the control room, right? And I remember playing this for the first time. There isn't a lot of first-person shooters at that point that had NPCs, like ally NPCs. And so I was like, wait, can I kill these people? And I'd shoot him like, oh, I could kill him. And I just go insane shooting all of my allied NPCs who are sitting at desks, just doing their jobs. And then the other allied NPCs with guns are like, oh, let's kill him. And then they fight you and then you die. And you're like, all right, I'm going to do the mission now. But in this one, it's just so just blatantly stupid. First off, half of the NPCs in this that are sitting at desk typing are black females. And that wasn't the case in the first game. But you can kill the male NPCs and you can't kill the female NPCs.
Oh.
Like, that's so on the nose. That's so fucking stupid.
Well, you know, the problem is that society trains people to hate women. And video games are the training wheels of that. So they fixed it. There's not going to be violence against women now, the next generation, They're gonna play Halo and they're gonna
It just
understand.
none of these people have anybody in their life to tell them like that's a little ridiculous. Because if they did, if the first time somebody they're like they're trying to kill the women, and you say, well, they're also trying to kill the men, they'd probably be like, yeah, good point, and then they'd calm down. Because that was the same thing that happened to me with one of my lefty buddies when I found out Charlie Kirk was killed. I was like, holy shit, Charlie Kirk was just shot. And he's like, oh, that doesn't make me sad at all. And I was like, dude, come on. Like he's got like kids and a wife. He's a guy. And he's like,
he's a literal Nazi.
He's like, yeah, you're right. If you're separated from the rest of the cult and you hear somebody say, come on, man, he's a guy and he's got a wife and kids. You go, okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry. That was stupid. That was shitty of me.
Yeah.
But, and that was, I remember playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and my sister and my wife are watching me play it and kind of chatting. And I'm just mowing down people, robbing stores, just going on the beach, just hitting everyone I can and slaughtering people. And they're laughing, thinking it's hilarious. And then the cops are chasing me and I'm running through a field and there's a cow there and I shoot it in the face and they're like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys just saw me slaughter like 75 people. And they're like, well, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's
It's always true of like dogs. in
that's
movies
my
and
bet.
stuff, too.
But like, that's what this is. Nobody sat and told them, well, I mean, sis, here's the deal. I know you're a developer on this game, but if you're gonna let them kill the men, you gotta let them kill the women. But you could just not let them kill any of their allied NPCs. And they'd be like, yeah, okay, I get it.
It's a weird thing is like, if you're going to have the option, it's because you're going for realism. But then you undermine realism in your very endeavor to make it realistic. Like, all right.
Look at that change of people though. Speaking of like Procrustean Beds, like do not there is no way if we just think about nature and what nature is and what people would be attracted to.
You're going to get more Asian men or white women who decide to be game developers. I don't know, Troy. Troy, you were a game developer. Enlighten us. Are white or Asian men more likely to be into it than blue-haired white women?
Yeah, what are the data
There
analytics
is
on
no
this?
way that stuff. I mean, we have that photo from Alejandro earlier saying like, why don't men step up their game?
Because fuck you.
Were they allowed in this group down below there? Or were they pushed out purposefully from that group up above? Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw the stuff this week that, what's his name? Asmongold was going after and doing a deep dive into like all the sex harassment claims from Blizzard and said, that like all the stuff that blew up Blizzard entirely, basically none of it's been substantiated ever, And everybody's like, what? And that whole studio just got completely ripped apart for it. But how does it go from that, what it was? And like it always was, there were a few outlier women. I've even got some clips from a woman who talked about how great it was at that time that everybody could openly disagree and bat ideas and fight with each other over stuff, and now they can't. But how does it go from that to that if it's not, like I said, a Procrustean bed? There is no way that just nature being what it is and who's interested in games or who's interested in games, does that happen? Like, how many millions of years of rerunning it naturally, without something happening? How many millions of years would it have to be rerun to accidentally land on that hiring and that change of demographic right there?
Oh, quite a few.
It would never happen. It would never, ever, 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 ever happen.
We were sharing stories.
But men got to get their shit together so that those women can have husbands, right? Because now that they're making all that money being game devs for somebody else's game that was created, and they just go around turning into a shit soup all those years later, they've got to have husbands that make as much as them, even though they're surely not on the hiring list of that place.
So it's very,
around the campfire kind of idea. That's really all we talked about that first weekend was common problems, common solutions.
But years later, Chris gave
Look at
his
that crew. Look at that crew right there. These are the guys who started all the gaming dev stuff.
famous dragon speech. He told a room full of developers that the industry was losing its soul, that we were becoming too corporate, too safe, and we'd forgotten why we fell in love with this in the first place. He ended the speech by literally charging out of the room to go chase the dragon of artistic greatness. That speech hit hard because it came from the man who started it all in his living room. He saw the heat being traded for polish and safety decades ago. We adopted that same defiant spirit in the Xbox ATG team. Our mission was simple: help developers make their games great on Xbox by making the tech get out of the way of the art.
They were saying, we're going to fix this. So more of the money is going on the screen, not just trying to figure out the convoluted hardware. And that was like, really? I mean, that was like oxygen.
And we didn't just hire engineers. We had artists, we had audio people, we had designers. We had a team of game makers.
Yeah, there she was. She's there. See, there's room for a woman if she's into it that hard.
Of course. That's I get tired of how much you sound like a boomer anytime you talk about this.
There's three women there. It's just that's what I would expect
Well,
to
and
see from a
wants-
natural distribution of most highly qualified gamers who are geeky enough to get into that stuff. Sorry.
Who wants them gone? Who wants the women in this picture gone?
The incels.
Yeah, maybe the actual incels, but I'm like, no person who, like, if you made Halo, there was no person at the time that you made Halo who would be like, man, this game would be so much fucking better if you got rid of them chicks. None of them. Because there was nothing to indicate at that time that you hired them just because they're women. Nothing. There was no DEI program for this shit. These were just women who were passionate about game making, I'm sure, and obviously very good at it because they made fucking Halo, and Halo is awesome.
What do these same dudes here in this picture, what of their lives if at that time they were completely barred out of this? You know, what
we wouldn't have got Halo.
We wouldn't
That's
have got
the
Halo,
thing.
but what did they make of their lives? What could they do?
Yeah.
Well, you think about, I don't know. I've heard so many cool stories about game development in the 3D era, like right as we came into even before the 3D era. Like Donkey Kong Country is insane to hear about. The insane level of graphics of that game for the time. Or
I love listening to stories and stuff like that.
oh yeah, you hear about Crash Bandicoot on PS1. The shit that Naughty Dog had to go through to make Crash Bandicoot, like they had to break the entire fucking system just to get that game to work. You don't really hear that ever anymore. I haven't heard that in the past 20 years.
Like the intensity that Nintendo would put into like a Zelda or Mario game where they knew there was a deadline to be out, like the PlayStation 2 coming out.
Oh my God, dude.
That.
So
and
Majora's...
they didn't care. They were going to make it right, you know?
Oh yeah, dude. My favorite Zelda game of all time is Majora's Mask. It was the follow-up to Ocarina of Time, which is everybody else's favorite, which I get it. That game is amazing and perfect. And it really did sort of set the stage for a lot of shit that came after it.
I'll for sure replay that whenever it comes out, but it's been so long I hardly remember it.
Oh, I'm playing it with my kids right now. We're playing N64 Ocarina of Time.
On the N64 controller?
No, we have it on the Switch because
one of the things I've heard lately, some people talking about, sorry, I'm cutting off remember where you are in your story, but a bunch of people are talking about that Mario 64 and that Zelda. The 64 controller isn't people's favorites, but they say nothing was ever more adapted more perfectly to its controller ever than those.
For sure. Because the Nintendo 64 controller sucks ass. Like it's terrible. It was terribly built because the control stick has no life in it. It dies very quickly, especially if you get like one of those games that has a quick time event where you have to like swirl it around. It gets fucked really easily. But they adapted that game. They adapted Zelda to the Nintendo 64 controller so utterly perfectly because at this point we're so used to having two control sticks, and the right control stick controls the camera and the left controls movement. but there was only one control stick on this. There was a D-pad, but it was 3 different things, and you only have 2 different hands. So the D-pad very rarely gets used. And so they had that whole Z targeting thing. And they did it so perfectly. So Ocarina of Time was like an engineering masterpiece, but you were talking about games that have a really short time window, time crunch. And Majora's Mask is my favorite Zelda game, and they only had a year to make it. So like people will sort of criticize them for they reused a lot of the NPCs, like almost all of the NPCs from Ocarina of Time. But the game is so perfect, and it took such a different turn from Ocarina of Time. It was a risk for sure, but they did it so perfectly. Troy said, in my first 10 years in games, I worked for 3 companies that failed. Part of why it was so male was because it was high risk, high reward back then. Yeah, I believe that.
Did you guys watch Troy's? Because he linked the thing he did all the way back during Gamergate times, the damsels in development.
Was that the one that made you
well,
made
in
you
it,
resign?
He reinforces the patriarchal trope that women value time outside of work more than men do.
No, I gotta.
You linked that in the.
I gotta go back because I remember watching. Troy sent us his video that got him to resign.
It's not the Poopsmith song. I've watched that video a few times.
Yeah, I've watched Troy's videos a few times, but it's been a while.
It was a week ago, I think. So it's probably deep in the thread, but you can just YouTube it. Damsels in development.
Damsels in development.
Did you find it? Just doing it that way. Let's keep watching this one for a second because he talks about like how part of the problem is the niceness, and these guys weren't about niceness.
And that shared vision was the soul of our team. It was the foundation that allowed us to wrestle with ideas. But being aligned doesn't mean being quiet.
That my passion in having these meetings can be off-putting.
Great people have friction and lots of it. And this is where it gets really interesting. You see, the friction of creatives pushing against each other is where the magic is made. But that can't happen without trust. It requires people to forget themselves and play in the space of the game, in the space of the ideas, rather than the space of their egos. When you watch a great team debating a feature, it can look intense. To an outsider, it might even feel like they're angry.
Do you feel like it's pretty close to functioning the way you guys want it to be, or not?
If you think the AI sucks, say the AI sucks. I mean, don't ask me how I feel about the AI.
But they aren't wrestling each other. They're wrestling the idea. And in that effort to find the solution, they forget themselves. They aren't in the room anymore. They're in the game. It's almost as if they are the game wrestling to become real. It's not personal. It's passion.
Epic delivered, Epic over-delivered. They did a great job for E3. And I think that creative difference, that conflict is the way you get a better game.
And this is why smaller teams often find more success. They have the trust to let the social noise fall away so the game can take center stage. In those rooms, nobody's offended if voices get raised or people get interrupted because everyone knows you're not fighting each other. You're fighting for the best version of the game.
It was Leonard and I in our office, and I talked about it. And it wasn't us arguing. It was just us talking and on the whiteboard and going over things. And, you know, to the people at Obsidian, a lot of them thought we were arguing. And if you actually would listen to what we were talking about, we were trying to figure out if an idea would work.
And that's the soul I'm talking about. Games aren't just the code or the art. It's the relationships, the shared belief, the willingness to fight for an idea in service to something greater. And when that trust exists, that's when you get the magic. Because you don't just get games that work. They feel like they have a heartbeat, a soul.
It's no wonder that the game feels the way that it does, which is like, that's a fantastic thing, honestly.
And to be honest, like for us, it was even a surprise to see how appreciated it is, because like sometimes we feel like we went too far, but no, like it works well for people, and like we are super glad about it because yeah, it's like really like the game is pretty much the studio soul put into video game form, where we don't like to take ourselves too seriously, but also we want to like touch on some very deep and personal themes. So like we are super happy to see how much it connected with players, and I think it's a testament that people want to feel the soul of a game when they play it.
They built a masterpiece that carries their team's soul. You can feel the high.
Should we watch some of Troy's?
How'd you find it?
So you know from the entertainer music that it's time for a return to everyone's favorite topic, sexism in video games.
Wait, did Troy have brown hair at one point?
A nice series.
He talked to us about that.
I provocatively entitled it Damsels in Development, as an allusion to Feminist Frequency's Damsels in Distress trope. I'm going to take a look at a complaint that, as far as I know, almost nobody else has dared to address directly. And that complaint is that we game developers aren't doing enough to promote the inclusion and advancement of women within the game industry. It's a topic that I think deserves some investigation. Spoiler alert, the common narrative you see in the press that developers are working to exclude women can be shown to be false. And more so, that the promotion of that narrative is actually an obstacle against the inclusion of more women in game development.
This is one of the things that's so funny, because you remember like when all that James Damore stuff came out, right? That it's not Google's fault that the women aren't getting hired. It has to do with their personalities and temperament and choices and that sort of stuff. They fired him for it and they called it a screed, right?
Yeah.
A year later, they used his exact arguments in their defense when they were getting sued for it. So you're a bigot if you don't announce that you're a bigot. You see what I mean? Like we are keeping these women out because we are bigoted against them with our systemic systems. Oh no, we're not. We're not. Okay, so now you're a bigot because you're saying no, you're not. You know.
But before I get into that, I have a few quick notes. First, I want to thank everyone who has taken the time to comment and provide feedback on my other videos. I take some time out every day to read through those comments and even try to respond from time to time. Of course, there are just so many comments that I can't respond to everything, but I do appreciate what you guys have to say. Some of my ideas for future videos have come from those comments, and some of my viewpoints on things have changed in response to your insight and criticisms. So, thank you. In that vein, I also want to acknowledge a common complaint that my first videos sound very stilted. It's true. I actually kind of cringe at just how robotic I sound when I go back and listen to them now.
A few people in the comments section have said that my delivery is robotic. Perhaps it isn't the compliment it sounds like.
Interestingly, one of the most common complaints I've received is how I say this word.
How did you say it? Was Troy pulling a me? How was he saying it?
Troy was pulling you.
Ideology.
Ideology.
Yeah.
Ideology. It's pronounced ideology, not ideology.
Oh no, ideology is that one doesn't bother
I think
me at all.
it's ideology, but
Ideology is totally fine.
I definitely say it the wrong way then, because I definitely say ideology.
Well, no, I do too.
I think both are allowed.
We have to use it for our primary song that we never made. Ideology, I'm doing it. My ideology. And the reason why I am doing it's intersectionality.
Someone was even kind enough to send me a handy-dandy pronunciation guide.
Ideology. Ideology.
You know, I hadn't ever really thought of it before, so I went and looked it up. Apparently, it is correct to say it both ways. But the version with the long I...
Like this week, Nick Shirley went to Ceuta. And that's one where I get...
I think I got it backwards. He was saying it right. Sorry. Ceuta.
Ceuta. Yeah. Actually, if you're going to say it with a Spanish accent, it's Ceuta. You know, but everybody's been saying Ceuta, and all sorts of stuff. It's Ceuta. But
it's like saying Qatar versus saying Qatar.
Yeah.
Qatar just sounds stupid when an English guy says it. Like when an actual Arab
this one
guy says it.
Those vowels are in the opposite direction. It's it's Ceuta, but
yeah, Troy says this is one of the several videos that got me in trouble with the press.
Ooh.
Ideology is the more common, although there are some reasonably respectable folks who say it just like I do.
Biology is an ideology, and the idea of the objective world is an ideology, and science is an ideology, and it's all interpretation.
You said respectable people,
so anyway,
and then you put up Jordan Peterson.
I'll try to.
Is that what got you canceled? Is just
King of the incels?
I didn't even realize Peterson said.
Watch myself in the future, so that maybe I'll sound a little less like an idiot.
You sound like an idiot.
I see what you did there. That's
Not well, maybe he just sounds like a Canadian. Maybe that's just the Canadian
I know that's the thing. Peterson gets a pass because he's Canadian. He says things like so the word havoc, like wreaking havoc.
Yeah,
right. Havoc.
Yeah,
they're wreaking havoc.
For suggestions, I set up a Patreon page.
You want to drive? The one that drives me crazy, and I hear it too often because I still listen to his crap all the time. Is the quartering saying bag?
Bag.
The link is in the comments below. Right now, making videos is more of a hobby than a career for me. But if you like what you see and you'd like to support me, hey, I'd really appreciate it. Who knows? Maybe I can even get some better equipment and maybe some voice lessons. Of course, I'm not making videos only about games. I've also got some other topics that interest me as well, like behind the scenes of game development, the rise of machine intelligence, religion, philosophy, and so on. So please check out some of those other topics if they're of interest to you. Finally, a few people have asked what I'm doing now in the wake of the cancellation of Disney Infinity. Well, as some of you may have noticed, the Avalanche studio which made Infinity has been reborn and is now working for Warner Brothers.
Do you show us your fit at the end of the video? I see.
I was offered an opportunity to join them, but I decided that for now, I want to continue my sabbatical from making games so that I can continue to speak my mind freely. I know that if I ever went back to working for a big game development company, the PR team probably wouldn't want me provoking any controversy. Speaking of which, let me get back on topic and talk about damsels in development. You may have noticed that a common criticism leveled against game developers these days is that we're overwhelmingly male and white, and that we are threatened by the arrival of minorities and women into our industry. Here's just a smattering of some articles about that topic.
The only thing that I'm annoyed with is that they're overwhelmingly bearded. It's an unnatural beard rate.
Now, as I said in my previous video about Gamergate, I'm a critic of what I call the...
It was all these like gamer types and the Silicon Valley types that it was for sure them that eased the nation's dressing standards. Like if they didn't, which I kind of appreciate in some senses, but if they weren't the ones who didn't start showing up to work in jeans and baggy shirts and all that sorts of stuff and become extremely successful in it, the rest of America wouldn't have eased up as quick.
We've had this drama at work recently where, like, technically speaking, in the company handbook, you're not allowed to wear shorts to work. But the thing is, for the majority of the work that we do, we show up and then we change out of whatever clothes we're wearing and we put on scrubs. And so I can't, like, if all you're doing is riding the bus out there wearing shorts and getting to your break room and immediately putting on scrubs, who fucking cares? I understand it when you're in the middle of doing the construction work. You don't want your guys wearing shorts or whatever, but I know it was someone with an office job that bitched about this. Because I never show up in shorts, but I got a buddy that he always shows up in shorts and he immediately goes and puts on scrubs. And somebody bitched about him wearing them to work the other day. I'm like, I know this was an office person. I just know it.
You want to know what's 100% true everywhere I've ever seen? This is my lived experience, but I believe it's true everywhere. The dress code is way more enforced on men than it is on women.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Way more.
Way, like, you better have your collar, you better have your tuck, you know what I mean? And you better have khakis and not jeans. And women will show up in jeans all day, every day. They'll show up in jogging pants. They'll show up in leggings, you know, and nobody says anything. Which sometimes I'm happy for, because if somebody has to say something, it's usually me, and I hate having to do that. It puts you in an awkward situation. But the only time I ever had to do that was a lady would strip down to her long johns in the office, you know, just because it was too hot in there or something in the winter, but she wanted to have her long johns on, and so I had to go tell her you can't do that.
Gay.
Yeah. But they do not fall, and they don't get in trouble for it at all. Like some won't just to the nines, you know what I mean? But
we had a non-binary, and they still works for the company, and there's a question whether or not this guy would be transferred to our area a couple of years ago, and I went and talked to my camo wearing, gun toting, hunting supervisor, and I was like, look, man, I'm really looking forward to this. And he's like, what? And I was like, if this non-binary dude gets transferred to us, I'm going to refuse to use they, them pronouns. I will. I know that. And then you are going to have to pull me into your office and give me a talk about respecting people's pronouns. And I'm so excited to see that. Never panned out. They never came to work with us.
Religion of identity politics. I don't think that it helps anyone.
You did go hard, Troy.
Any race or gender to be reduced to their demographic markers and then told that simply because of their birth characteristics, they fall into a category of being a majority or a minority, and hence into being either automatically the oppressor or the oppressed. Rather, I agree with Martin Luther King Jr., who said that we should be working towards a day when people are valued based on their behavior and the content of their character, rather than on the color of their skin, or, by extension, I would say, the shape of their genitals. But in the interest of furthering the discussion, let's go ahead and look at how some members of the press...
For the time frame this came out 9 years ago, This went hard, man.
He used dick butt. Wow, you asshole.
Reporting on the demographic numbers in game development and see how well they hold up under a bit of scrutiny. To me, this article is a pretty good example of the sorts of things that are being said. It's from a European website called Unite IT or United, and originally published on February 28, 2016. It is titled, "Why Are There So Few Female Game Developers?" It starts like this. While the video games industry continues to grow and more women are playing games, the number of female developers is still low, and efforts to diversify the male-dominated industry have been the target of widely online harassment. What is going on? Why are women not attracted to a career as a game developer? And why are female gamers or developers a target for online harassment? So, right from the very start, we get a nice crystallization of the standard gaming press narrative. You'll see these same points repeated again and again in other articles. First, that gaming is growing and more women are playing games, which is true. But then second, that the male-dominated industry is somehow actively resisting allowing more women into game development. In fact, so goes the narrative, many of the women who do try to break in are so unwelcome that they can be harassed right back out. The rest of the article is aimed at reinforcing this narrative. But is it really the case? Let's take a closer look. As you come down a little further in the article, you'll see this common claim, that female gamers are even more populous than male gamers now. In fact, at first glance, the article makes it look like there are twice as many of them. But then if you look just a little closer...
That's just like saying like phone games, right?
Yeah.
You'll see that something funny is going on with the reporting. For some mysterious reason, the author has decided to compare all women playing games who are over the age of 18 against just the young men who are under the age of 18. Take a moment to think about how weird it is to compare those particular demographics. First of all, the total population of women over the age of 18 is many times larger than the total population of men under the age of 18. According to the 2015 US Census data, there are about 35 million young men under the age of 18, and that includes toddlers and infants. Meanwhile, there are over 122 million women over the age of 18. So the natural ratio before we consider gaming at all is already about 3.5 to 1, which means that even if 100% of the young men in the smaller demographic, including those in diapers, were playing games, they would still be outnumbered if only about 1 in 3 of the adult women were also playing. Why not compare the number of adult women within a certain age range playing games against, oh, I don't know, the number of adult men in that same range? Wouldn't that be a more fair apples-to-apples comparison? It looks to me that the author could have done so from the sentence immediately above. The ratio appears to be 4 to 3 men to women for gaming over the age of 18. Why not report these numbers?
This
is there perhaps
like
an ideological...
Thomas Sowell stuff of just, what are you comparing? Like, who are you actually comparing? What is actually like lined up here? And so much is hidden in stats that way.
I said it right this time. Agenda here? Okay, so that's weird, but let's move on. Next.
I mean, that's one of the things I always like think about, like when people go like measuring race against race, because race against race always is going to have a crazy average age difference. You know?
Oh yeah, that's a New York thing.
We have this chart, which is based on an IGDA survey of developers and subject to all the problems that surveys might have. According to this survey, about 3 out of 4 game developers are male. Now, if you're pushing an agenda and look only at the misleading 2 to 1 women to boy statistic, and then at this 3 out of 4 developers are male chart, you might see it as problematic and definitive proof that women are being deliberately excluded from development. But if we look a little closer at the numbers...
But the thing is, like, you can just look at that Halo thing and know that it's the opposite, because it is supposed to be like the numbers of who actually are interested in playing the thing versus how many got hired. Just like right off the bat, just looking at the team, you know that there's been major discrimination.
And put them into a relevant context, they tell a different story. You see, 10 years earlier, the IGDA ran a similar survey, and at that time, only 11% of the developers that responded identified as female. This means that, in just a decade, the percentage of women working in game development has doubled. And this has happened during a period of tremendous growth as millions of more women have shown an interest in gaming and thousands of development jobs have been created. Now, if the percentages had stayed about the same during this growth period, you might be able to make the case that the industry wasn't responding to the influx of female gamers. But the percentage of female developers has outpaced the growth of the industry by a factor of 2. So this isn't evidence of women being excluded, it's evidence of the exact opposite. In the past 10 years, the industry is actually welcoming female developers at a rate that is so good that it is growing at twice the speed as is the industry as a whole.
The thing is, it's so ridiculous to imagine at any given point if some chick was just some awesome game developer that really had the skills, that she'd get chased off. Like, no, get out of here. You know?
That's how this story goes. He talks about it like they hired a woman because she had really great
tits.
Yes. No, skills, really good candidate.
Same difference.
And she did an incredible job and kept getting promoted. And she got promoted really fast into like a senior position. and she was amazing, and they loved her. And then one day she came, she's like, "Hey, I want to do other things with my life," and they tried to convince her to stay, but she valued other things more than work.
It's temperament. It's way more temperament in the ability. And Peterson always talks about that. He's like, says, generally, like if you look at those like lawyers who work 90 hours a week just to become the top guy in the office and become partner and all that sorts of stuff, the question isn't like what's wrong with women not getting there. The question is like what's wrong with those guys that they're so autistic and just want to do that bad and don't let up.
After this, the author does something that I consider to be a bit underhanded in pursuit of her women are being kept out narrative. Remember, she just used numbers
from the story. I don't know if we want to lift Troy's whole entire video. People should go watch. Go watch the damsels in distress. What are we running? Flip, you're running like the whole night. When are you going to England?
Saturday.
Next Saturday?
Yeah, although I strained my back at work yesterday, so I'm just taking these 2 days off because I don't want to risk having a bad back traveling.
Wow. Anyway, we just got a little bit to go here.
I don't know. It feels like people who don't think that you should. Any person, if you get a one-on-one, if they're away from the rest of the cult, I feel like I could talk them into women and men in general want different things, and the only people who would resist that are people like men who have never really met or been with another woman, or women who have never really met or been with another man. Like, because I don't know, I'm thinking of Morgan was in Utah the last 2 days. I had to take him off. Her sister she's pregnant. She had to get induced early. And Morgan, like, our baby is the bane of her existence. He's a pain in the ass. But when she's gone, she misses the shit out of him. And she comes back and I'm telling her, I know you're tired because you were dealing with your sister's labor. You didn't really sleep much. So I'm trying to deal with it. But she keeps picking him up and playing with him. And like she needs him. And I get that to a degree, you know, like when I come back from work, I love seeing him and I love having him climb all over me and stuff like that. But she just texted me, I'm just going to sleep in bed with him tonight because I missed him. And I don't know if you've ever met or talked to a woman who has ever had a kid, you immediately just understand, like, they're drawn toward that. It's not a bad thing if they aren't, you know, because you're going to find the women who aren't. And those were the women in that first picture, the women who worked on the first Halo game. And that's fine.
This is kind of one of the things I'm saying, like the Procrustean Beds, the stuff that they try to fit into their ideology. This is kind of another example of it. But like I was stating earlier, I think, again, it all just kind of shows the weird way the crazy leftists are, you just call it like against nature. Like they're anti-evolution in like a certain sort of way. And this kind of like makes the case for it here in this weird little thing that came up.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you interested in showing this video from the Yale law professor?
Yes, the Ross Douthat interview. I thought this was so fascinating. It was where I was headed next.
Okay.
So let's show this clip.
It's Aaron Cariotti is tweeting it. Yeah.
I've gotten in some hot water for proposing we consider overweighting the votes of younger people, or assigning the youngest eligible voters proxy votes for the unrepresented children of our country. So those are edgy.
Why not assign them to those children's parents?
Well, because there's a divergence of interest between parents and children. And I think it's likelier that young people, not people who are raising families, will have the best insight into the interests of children. Whereas if you were awarded 5 proxy votes,
I think it's absurd to imagine that a 24-year-old recent college graduate has a better assessment of the interests of my own children than I do. And I say this with all due respect to 24-year-old recent college graduates, of whom I hope to be the parent of in 9 years or so.
I think parents generally confuse the interests of their family with the interests of their children. And part of our goal, I think, as parents, but also as a society, is trying to make sure that children aren't the hostages of their parents, as much as we rely on parents to raise them.
In my experience, parents are more likely to be the...
Okay.
Let me just say that last line again. This is from Yale law professor Samuel Moyn. Part of our goal as a society is trying to make sure that children aren't the hostages of their parents, as much as we rely on parents. As much as we rely on parents to raise them.
Okay.
I predicted that this man didn't have children, I was wrong. I looked into it. He does have children.
Oh, I do not feel good for these children.
Like we're not going to go there. Like, this is actually not the sort of male equivalent of a very confused person who never had children of their own.
Yeah. Well, I do not want to bypass this clip without giving maximal kudos to Dothat for not saying, with all due respect to you, because this guy is deserving of none. Yeah. He says, with all due respect to 24-year-olds, which 24-year-olds are entitled to some respect. Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. But
well, and he also says, Des Moines, that's daft. He doesn't say you're daft, but I think he's thinking it.
Yeah. Well, and I think what struck many of us about this clip is how breathtaking it is. You know, every so often you encounter the concentrated lunacy on the current blue left, where you hear that they find the idea of family is racist or something. Right. The idea that they think it's actually the school's job to raise the children in spite of the parents. Mm-hmm. And you just think, this is wrong. It's absurd. And this is where I think the right could do well to realize all of the value they're leaving on the table by not embracing a careful evolutionary view of humans. Yes. You don't need to abandon your view in God. The two things do not interact as far as we know. We can have that discussion later. But parents and children have an alignment of interests that is the result of a 3.5 billion year unbroken trajectory of reproduction that has been founded on that principle, and that B extends into the cultural layer such that parents are transmitting material, both genetically and outside of the genome, through those children. This is the way that our culture is built. Furthermore, you will find, if you embrace the genetic part of this analysis, that the fact that a parent is inherently aligned with their child by genes is also the strongest argument in favor of monogamy, which conservatives embrace. The reason for that is because a brood of children that is the product of a monogamous relationship is genetically united much more than a brood of children that have different fathers. So from the point of view of Western civilization functioning the way conservatives correctly think it should function, they're leaving cards on the table that shouldn't be left on the table. These are cards that should be played. This guy in his tie with his high-minded diction is a madman. He's under the spell of something, and he might wake up from it one day. But nonetheless, the idea that rando 24-year-olds, who by the way are not like God-given instantiations of something, these people are the product of schools that suck and the online environment, which is a battleground. So what they think they know isn't real. The idea that anything should supplant the natural alignment between parents and children is preposterous. Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't go wrong, but
or that some people's votes, people who aren't allowed to vote, should have their votes somehow proxied into the system by weighting some people's votes. The entire plan is batshit crazy.
The whole thing and the idea.
I mean, beyond that, but I like how he always turns his responses to thinking of things evolutionary.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Here's the problem. Here's the one thing Brett hasn't considered. We beat evolution.
Oh yeah.
We're in modernity. We are the eye at the end of history. Yeah. We beat evolution. Progressivism is the eye at the end of history. That's just a phrase I think of so often, is we beat evolution. And it's weird that the people who think we beat evolution the most seem to be the ones that believe in it the most, or claim to believe in it the most. They don't really seem to understand it, but
yeah, I mean, just jumping off of that, I mean, I think going back to like what we thought was like should have been so obvious, like of the questions that Kobe was asking Jacob or whatever about parents and that sort of deal. But I mean, it all goes back to like even just the selfish gene or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there is obviously going to be an alignment of like a family or a family unit that if it is all biological, just like you said, it's the strongest argument for monogamy. It's why certain even animals, like they know, as we pulled up before, that like foxes and those different types of things tend to be more monogamous because their offspring won't get along if they have too many multiples at the same time from different parents and that sort of stuff. And why monogamy is emergent in that sort of way, because of the way your family,
well, it's just there seems to be this weird propensity among lefties toward making things intentionally ugly.
Yeah, she did a great video on it here.
popularizing the new English title is this idea that within any system or society that isn't communist, but oh boy, especially capitalism, the individual human being has been dehumanized, something Marx called objectification, which is to say people had been objectified. They had been turned into pieces of machinery designed to produce and consume capital. This, Marx says, is the highest of all evils, I guess. Part of the reason for that was that, according to him, it elevated man's self-serving animal instincts, which disallowed the spontaneous creation of true beauty. So true beauty, particularly beauty in art, isn't really possible outside the perfected human experience within utopian Marxism. Hang on, this is actually hilarious. Let me have 1 second here to make fun of this stupidity, please. Marx literally believed that if you were doing any kind of work in order to feed yourself or otherwise provide for your bodily needs, then you were alienated from your work and therefore miserable, because serving your bodily needs was something that only animals do. So if a human did that, it was debased. So this guy actually said that in a perfect communist society, no one would have to work to provide for themselves in any way. And all day long, we would all just have these exhalations of pure creation when we'd labor to create art and it was perfection itself, and only then would we not be alienated from our work. So if you grow a tomato in your garden in order to use it to feed yourself, or if you paint a beautiful painting and then sell it so you can pay your rent, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're oppressed and you're behaving like an animal and you need communism to save you. I can't believe I wasted entire hours of my life reading this trash. Even our super popular corporate slop word authenticity is Marxist in origin. It's a word which in its current common usage means literally nothing. It's being used, however, to suggest that there is no such thing as beauty. There is only authenticity. Actresses, artists, writers, game makers, everyone breaks out this word of all words to describe their patently, insistently ugly selves or their ugly productions. Well, they'll say it's authentic, or some weird variation like I'm expressing my true authentic self or my authenticity or some such nonsense, which is exactly like saying there's only my truth and your truth and there is no truth, or there is no right and wrong, good or bad, beauty or ugliness. There's just authenticity. Because, of course, authenticity is inherently subjective. Some freak can go kill a cat in an alley and say that he was merely being his authentic self and genuinely believe it. You, me, and the sheriff know that that's, pardon me, bullshit. So is all talk of aesthetic authenticity. The thing is, I believe we get this usage of the word authentic from Walter Benjamin, a hugely important Marxist who literally wrote the book on the Marxist political philosophy of aesthetics in the first half of the 20th century. That book being The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction. He was also part of the Frankfurt School, along with a lot of other prominent, powerful, influential German communists, or I guess they like to call themselves Marxists. Whatever. Benjamin used the term authentic quite a lot to talk about the aura of art. The oversimplification is that authenticity is what happens when we get that perfect, pure exhalation of creation that Marx was talking about, because I think I'm getting this. So basically, if you're creating art by pure exhalation or whatever, then that means that you're not alienated from your art, which means that your art will actually have a human aura. This aura is absent when work is mass-produced for sale or something. That was the thrust of his book. So the goal is to give art a human aura, which is only possible if we're not alienated from the work. I hope you're still with me. But obviously, these authentic exhalations can't happen if we don't live in a perfect communist utopia. So if we don't live in a perfect communist utopia, authenticity has to happen when the art is, like, accurately representing our alienation from our work. That is what they mean when they say art has to be political. There is no perfect communist utopia, so all art has to represent how miserable we all are because we aren't living in a perfect communist utopia. I'm not oversimplifying that. That's the literal essence of Marxist aesthetics. The takeaway there is that characters are ugly because that's the only way for them to be in a world that isn't the perfect communist utopia. So when they are ugly like that, they really are, according to Walter Benjamin, authentic. Another highly, highly influential art philosopher was Herbert Marcuse, yet another fun-loving German Marxist, and also, interesting detail, later a member of the Office of Strategic Services, which was the early version of the CIA. According to him, you're actually not allowed to put beauty in your art. Not that we can really expect sense from a guy who believed that reason and logic were oppressive and facts were the language of the oppressor, whatever the hell that means. In a word, according to Marxism, art has to be ugly. But if you do this well, then it gets put on a pedestal. Ah, yes, you see, this art makes me uncomfortable. This video game character is subtly disturbing. This model on the runway is deliberately hideous. That's excellent, you see. This art is all authentically representing our misery. Therefore, this ugly art is beautiful. The uglier you are, the uglier you behave, the better you are embodying the Marxist principle that we don't get to have nice things until we all submit to the communist utopia. Okay, so that's what all the Marxists say. But is that really what this is all about? Is it really true that the only reason beauty has been erased from art and culture is because of some symbolic political representation of how much we're all supposed to be longing for the great socialist utopia? If you think about it, that's completely insane. So what is at the root of it? Why is communism and its ideological and aesthetical adherents so violently averse to beauty that they have to not only avoid it, but also destroy and subvert it? For one thing, it's worth remembering that communism has never once created anything of any lasting cultural value. I mean, civilizationally. Every time they occupy a given culture, they destroy, 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 just as we're seeing now in the West. In China, the Four Olds, which were pillars of Chinese society, were completely demolished. And what was left? Nothingness. An artificial culture full of emptiness. Look at what happened in Russia. The question bears asking, why destroy something beautiful if you're not going to replace it with something even more beautiful? Why destroy beauty at all? Why? First of all, there is an interpretation, or rather a kind of grotesque but not completely inaccurate reduction of communism's popularity among certain people that could be summed up as jealousy. Communism, in all its philosophical, sociological, and social pomps and works, endeavors to mandate equality. Why? That's a loaded question, but how about we oversimplify for the sake of discussion? The simple motivation for a lot of people to draw of communism is jealousy. A poor man is jealous of the wealth of a rich man, and so wants the state to give a large portion of that rich man's wealth to him. He has no interest in working for his own wealth, he just in objective beauty. If you say beauty and order and harmony exist and are objectively identifiable, that implies that there is such a thing as objective right and wrong. If it's true that things need to be in a certain order to be properly ordered, then it's true that there is such a thing as true order and disorder. Therefore, it's true that there's such a thing as right and wrong. That is to say, if there is such a thing as beauty, there is such a thing as objective good and objective morality. If you reject the concept of right and wrong, you must also reject the concept of beauty. It stands to reason then that one of the biggest reasons so many philosophers of the 20th century have taken it upon themselves to cast doubt on the entire objective concept of beauty is because it is directly adjacent to the concept of objective good. If you don't want one, you have to get rid of the other. It's that simple. Beauty.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
She's got some great videos.
Yes, she does. Yeah, she took that one down. That stuff is like so totally true. Of that the way they say you're alienated, like, and I always like it. It's one of the ways like Marxists and that Frankfurt School people, like when I've read Horkheimer or Benjamin or Marcuse was kind of more of an idiot, but Adorno was kind of the bigger one. It's just the concept of them telling you that you aren't happy or don't like any of the stuff that you have or like, because none of it can be real true happiness. I mean, it kind of mimics, Troy said it's like the religion of politics or some sort of thing, but it mimics the same way that religious people will tell you don't have true happiness or something.
It's every piece of art I've ever grown up with is they talk about the white picket fence as if it's something to avoid.
Yeah.
I've never heard somebody said white picket fence is anything other than boring and ugh.
And that's why I put myself as Frank Grimes tonight, because I'm the guy who's just like, all I want is that thing that I'm told by all the Marxists from the 1950s that everybody was miserable in. What was that Seamus cartoon? The how they think that everybody was in the 1950s and everybody in the 1950s was like a nice house, and the white picket fence was secretly gay and hated their lives and wanted to kill themselves. Even the dog was like, I'm secretly. Did you guys ever see that one?
I don't think I remember that one.
I'll find that one.
But that does, I mean, it rings true. Like, I don't know. I remember talking to this guy one time at work who he was a single guy about my age, and people were talking about marriage, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm never going to get married. And somebody's like, why? He's like, oh, you never get laid when you're married. And I just flat out asked him, I was like, how often do you get laid? Because I know this guy. He lived in the apartment above one of the bars downtown, and he was at that bar every single night trolling for pussy. And he probably spent hundreds, because anytime I went to the bars, he'd buy me several shots. And obviously I'm not any pussy that he's trolling for, but he'd buy the chicks a lot more drinks. And I'm like, you're spending hundreds of dollars every night. How many times a month do you get laid? Or how often do you get laid? And he was like, what? Really? You want to know? I was like, yeah, tell me, how often do you get laid? And he was like, I don't know, like twice a month or something. And I was like, okay, I'm married and I have at the time 2 kids. If I only had sex with my wife twice a month, she'd fucking divorce me. You understand that? So no, this white picket fence thing, this don't get married or you'll never have sex. It doesn't make it. And you want to know what the effort that I put into it is? The effort that you put into it is that you spend hundreds of dollars every night on drinks for strangers that you hope will fuck you. My effort is that I roll over in bed and I'm like, eh? And she'll be like, yeah. And then go to town.
Well, not only is that totally true and happens, even if like you are good at it, the only people I know who are good, very, very good at it and do that much have some sort of level of sociopathy, because if you are good at it, you've got to also be very good at breaking up. Like the old joke that Charlie Sheen used to say, like, why do you get all these prostitutes? You can get any chick you want. It's like, no, the getting rid of them is the harder part.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't do that.
Not that it's the harder part. Both can be hard. But
well,
getting
I never
rid of them is you have to be a sociopathic asshole. And the guys I know who do go through a lot of women are that a little bit. You have to be okay with just being a dick.
Oh no, dude! I remember even in high school asking girls out on dates who were just my friend, because that's what you do in Mormon cultures. Like, oh, want to go on a date or something? And if she had a crush on me, I was like, ah, shit. guess I gotta date her now. I guess we gotta be an item now.
I run the software through my head all the time. Like some chick starts talking to me, and maybe it could be something there, and I kind of know that I'm not really into it. And I go, I don't want to break up with you. So I just like let it go, like move on from it. But yeah, this is the thing here. This right here, what you see in the picture right there, I'm Frank Grimes. That's all I ever wanted from life. That's all I want. That seems like the dream. That's the best thing in the world. But this is, of course, Freedom Tunes. How the left portrays the 50s. Let's see here. Let me make this normal speed for comedy.
You may think the 50s was a nice time to live. We're as prosperous as ever. My wife loves me, my children respect me, and I'm able to provide for my family with a single income.
But I'm secretly gay! Deep down, I'm so gay! But it's the 50s! I have to be with my wife instead of at a leather bar! No!
My husband is strong and masculine. He can easily protect and provide for us all. And the food at the grocery store is delicious and healthy. But I'm gay! I'm secretly gay! I'm so gay! I just want to go in the bathhouse! No! No!
I have plenty of friends, and we play outside all day. But I like to read, too. I'm not sat in front of a screen 24/7. And I'm secretly gay! I'm so gay! I can't take it anymore! No! To hold it in! No one can ever know how gay I am!
Go, Baxter!
If you like what we're doing, become a member at Freedom.
Yeah. But I think that's funny that, they always say, they got into my head so much because I don't believe it at all. But sometimes I'll just be like, can I really like this Nintendo game? I really, really like it, but Walter Benjamin and the door will say that I can't really, really like this thing because it's not part of Utopia, And I guess on the flip end, I guess it's not Zion either, so I can't really like the thing. But it sure seems like that I kind of like that video game with my dog right now. Like, it sure seems like I do,
Yeah, man. If I were a single slut, I'd go the Charlie Sheen route and get prostitutes. I'm not even kidding you, because I couldn't break up with him. If I had a one night stand and she wanted to be an item, I'd be like, well, fuck, no, I have to. Okay, and then I would miserably date this woman who's willing to have a one night stand for the next 6 to 8 months until she breaks up with me, and I am so happy that she just broke up with me. Oh God, I'm so happy. And then I do it again and again. The other option sounds almost in a fucked up way more honorable, where I just like, I know I'm gonna get laid 4 times a month because that's how often I can afford a hooker.
Well, I don't know. I probably said it before. Owen Benjamin, one of his best jokes that I actually thought was a joke. The guy's a wacko, but he said that this joke is actually what got Adam Sandler to notice him, to put him in a movie. And Adam Sandler is ultimately wholesome with his family and all that sorts of stuff. And he liked this joke so much that that's the only reason that he got picked up by and put into Hollywood to later become the nutbag of nutbags. But he had the joke of like, I can't do one night stands. I'm just not built for it. Every time I have a one night stand, I sleep with her and we wake up in the morning and I ask her, what are you doing for Christmas?
That's very relatable. Adam Sandler makes shit movies, but that's good to know that he's a wholesome guy. He didn't always make shit movies.
Well, even his shit movies, I think, speaks to some of his wholesomeness. His shit movies are usually because he's employing every single one of his friends who are
his shit. His shit movies are not because it's not because of the messaging ever. It always has a wholesome message. It's just that they're not good.
They're not good, and I guarantee you, like, look at all the stuff. He employs all of his college friends. He makes sure, not just all of them, he makes sure every single one of them has a speaking line in every single movie, you know, like.
Yeah, and I mean, some of them are all right. Like Rob Schneider's fine, and Steve Buscemi's fine. I mean, a lot of their roles aren't great. Like
those are even the more famous ones. Like genuinely, like some of those guys that you kind of see them, like some of those dudes from Little Nicky, and you'd recognize their faces from Grandma Boy and all those guys. Those were his college roommates and kind of had no business in Hollywood, and they're only there because Sandler put them in everything.
And he's genuinely a good actor in
Oh, yeah, when he
movies.
acts serious.
Yeah, and well, in movies that he doesn't direct.
Yeah.
Like I hear Funny People is really good, and Uncut Gems. I love Punch Drunk Love.
Have you seen the Meyerowitz?
Nope.
Nope. That's another good one. I think that was Noah Baumbach who directed that.
I liked Click. I really liked Click. That was one of the, but he did direct that one. But
Meyerowitz is a good one because it's him and Ben Stiller. It's serious, but it's Dustin Hoffman. And what's interesting about it is just, well, it's Noah Baumbach. If you watch any Noah Baumbach movies like Squid and the Whale, it's always got like a narcissistic professor father figure in it who's insanely smart but completely a terrible person. And Dustin Hoffman plays a great, overly smart professor type who's just a bag of shit, who's their dad, and they're trying to work with having a super narcissistic professor father, you know. And it's good. It's good. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen Squid and the Whale. That's the same thing too, and that's Jeff Daniels playing an overly super narcissistic but a failure of a professor father. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Daniels, he did a great job teaching me that Democrats and Republicans are both shitty. Republicans because
going back to
Republicans because they're authoritarian shitheads, and Democrats because they don't win.
Yeah, and he was saying that as a Republican in the.
Oh, was he really?
Well,
I actually never watched that.
I've only Aaron Sorkin movie. Yeah, he's supposedly a Republican in that movie.
Was he really?
Yes, but
I
every
never
single thing he ever says is Democrat.
I never watched the show. I
watched a season of it.
I just saw that clip, so I assumed he was supposed to be the independent or something.
No, he's a Republican.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyway, that show, that's Aaron Sorkin, and I can't stand Aaron Sorkin stuff because every single thing is almost kind of like, every line he writes is like a slow clap line. Like everybody always has like the perfect thing to say for the slow clap immediately next, you know, and it's jarring for me.
Wait a minute. What are the other Aaron Sorkin projects? Because
West Wing, and he made the Saturday Night Live show that had Matthew Perry in it. That was right when 30 Rock came out. A serious Saturday Night Live show came out by Aaron Sorkin, where they tried to do the serious version of behind the scenes of Saturday Night Live. So it's like 30 Rock and that came out at the same time, and it was like two shows about making Saturday Night Live came out right at the same time, and that one, the other one tanked. But I mean, he's made some movies too. That he made the Facebook movie.
Oh, you know, I never watched that. I worked in the theater when it came out, and I just had absolutely zero interest in seeing it. I've heard it's good though.
He made this one recently called Molly's Game, which I watched. There's a bunch of shit about poker and it was bullshit. But I guess that's technically about Tobey Maguire being the true story of Tobey Maguire being a shithole poker player, but they don't use Tobey Maguire's name. A Few Good Men. A Few Good Men's good.
Really?
Yeah. A Few Good Men's good.
How queer?
Charlie Wilson's War is really good. Have you seen that?
No.
It's got Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's always awesome. But that one's about how they just started funding Afghanistan, and they got like a blank check to fund the shit out of Afghanistan before they turned on us. So if you go like watch that movie, it's kind of true about it. Of the senator, Tom Hanks plays the senator that basically just got a blank check to fund the shit out of Afghanistan to defend themselves from Russia. And then that's where all their weapons came from.
Yeah, I watched Dirty Harry for the first time the other day, and I started Magnum Force, which is the sequel, and it was kind of funny to me that so Dirty Harry is sort of this vigilante cop thing, And
I've seen it.
So there's no explanation because he just murders. It's a bad guy. It's a serial killer that he murders at the end, but it is obviously an illegal murder. There's no explanation at the beginning of the second movie why he's not prosecuted or at least fired from the police force. And I'm like, all right, that's fine, whatever. But then I haven't finished the second movie, but the entire second movie, the second one is all about him hunting vigilante cops. And I'm like, hold on. Wait, you're hunting
that now?
Yeah, you're hunting these people who did the thing that you did in the last movie and you were the good guy for doing? Okay.
This week I watched Alexander because Hardcore History had an Alexander podcast out, and that was a really shit movie, man. I'll tell you what. If Nolan turned the Odyssey into neoliberal horseshit, that turned Alexander to neoliberal horseshit in 2000. It's like 3.5 hours long, and all about him being gay. I'm not even joking. Like, watch it. I think it's wild that it was for that time frame because it wasn't like hinted at or like, no, he's just gay in it. And,
that's fun because I'm sure there's something in.
There is.
I mean, it's Alexander the Great, right?
Yeah,
That's what we're
there's
talking
some
about.
sort of case where he like supposedly kissed a man boy in front of all of his people.
See, I mean that's better than just he
That's
got really
closer to something
sad.
real life.
Yeah, he got really sad when his male friend died.
There's that also. There's that. Hephaestus was his main guy, and we.
Because if any of you guys,
so they must have been gay their whole lives.
Yeah, no,
and that's played by Jared Leto.
If either of you died, I wouldn't feel anything.
You wouldn't feel any gayness?
No, I wouldn't feel anything.
You're saying that for the future history books.
I am. Because if I'm like, man, that Flip, I'm real sad that he's gone. The 10 guys that watch this are going to be like, you were sucking his cock, weren't you?
That's how that goes.
Sorkin wrote Moneyball. That's a good watch too. But I also, when I rewatched it recently, I kind of viewed the guys who changed baseball that way more as the villains than the heroes. So it was a different watching this time.
Yeah.
So the people who Silicon Valley-ized sports. Oh, I didn't even get the WNBA stuff. Yeah,
oh, geez. That's right.
Yeah.
It's getting really late, though. I gotta
go walk a doggy. It's doggy walk time. I couldn't walk him earlier because it's too hot again. So
things by next week, 10 million more stupid things will have happened, and we'll forget to talk about.
Yeah, we'll forget to talk. You know what? Walsh did a really good episode on WNBA this week. I don't know if you watched it or not.
I watched
he also
a bit
did a
of
good
it.
one on body. His whole episode's good, but the body cam ones he did too. There's some wild stuff going on with body cam. You know all the body cam stuff you watch, Flip?
Yeah.
There's all these laws getting passed now and making it tougher and tougher for the people to get those. They're probably going to make it near impossible everywhere. And some
How ironic!
I know. Now we hate body cams.
Well, so one of the things that they're going to do is like you have to pay by the hour to get it. So they're going to have to charge these guys thousands to get. But if you want the 1 hour, they're going to give you all the hours of all the body cams at once. So they'll charge you all the body cams of all the hours of all the cops at once and charge you like $50,000 if you want to see that thing. So if YouTubers want to FOIA stuff to get things, they've passed these laws now that they're going to have to pay these exorbitant amounts of money to get them.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's insane.
I disapprove.
Yeah.
That one that he highlighted was pretty fucking bad. There's like protesters. The guy was 3 times the legal limit as far as drunkenness goes, and ran away from the cop who was trying to pull him over because he was swerving, rear-ended a lady, kept going, went over an intersection, smashed into somebody else, and then his car finally just stopped. And he gets out, and he's got a gun, but he drops it. And then the cop starts telling him, get down, wrestles with the cop. The cop chases him, he falls down, and then he comes at the cop while telling his son to pick up his gun, yelling, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Because they always
Are you ready for what happens now or something?
Yeah, you ready for this? You ready for this? In the exact same inflection, because for whatever reason, that's what they always do. And then the cop shoots him when he's like a foot away from him. And people are
He's getting indicted for it, and he's probably going to go to prison in the area he is if he gets the right.
Even if he's acquitted, his life is ruined.
Oh yeah.
That's still better than what's probably going to happen to him in that area that he's in. So that's terrible. That's horrible. Anyway, gotta go walk a doggy. So,
walk a dog.
Have a lovely, lovely old time, yo.
Later, nerds.
Later.